How's everyone doing? We're going to be talking some Bears, Bulls, and we have us a special guest. Ain't that right, my boy? Today on the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. Hit it.
You are now rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast, where they think they know everything, but honestly, they don't know shit.
Summer league games and they tell you about these new up and coming coaches.
I think we should get rid of every motherfucking owner in Chicago.
Enzo and Caruso, both when they are on the court, are like your defensive generals.
But they need to get that strong safety who's not scared to hit somebody.
They really don't know shit.
Welcome to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast, where we think we know everything, but we really don't know shit. Today, we're going to be talking about some more Bears and some more Bulls. Unfortunately, our Bulls did get eliminated in the play-in, so no playoffs for them. Our GM has done a bad job as far as constructing our team. And our coach is still not a good coach. I don't know if it's going to change. Let's be honest. What has Billy Donovan won since he left Florida? Absolutely jack shit. Below 500 coach as a Chicago Bull. It's not good. Of course, we know that the draft is right around the corner, so we will be talking some draft stuff with our special guest today. So enough of me sitting up here chit-chatting and my boy Grogu standing here with us. Ain't that right? How you doing today? He's doing pretty good. Let's go ahead and bring on the dream team. First off, let's start with the stat man that knows everything from the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. My man, JB.
Wow, what's happening, kid?
What's going on, man? I'm sleepy as shit.
Man, back to the cold, lazy days, huh?
Hey, man, Chicago. Gotta love her, right? With her bipolar ass. Right. Only place in 3 days, you're going to get 3 seasons. Let's see. Saturday, summer.
Yep.
Sunday, fall.
Oh.
Monday, winter. And today felt a little bit like spring.
Little bit. Hopefully, tomorrow will be a little bit better. But
yeah, you love a bipolar ass.
Hey, can't get enough of her, right? Can't get rid of her.
So, man, hell no, you can't get rid of her. She loves you, and you love her.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Grogu, my main man, what's up, man? I'm glad you escaped.
Yeah, you back, huh? Yeah, you back. Yeah, do what he do. Yeah, man. Our Bulls, they gone.
Yeah, we need to hear he gone, as in Billy Donovan and AK and poor Mark Eversley. I don't even know if he really does anything. He's just
shit. They can give me Mark Eversley job. I sit my ass around and don't do shit and get paid. Yeah.
Right. Man, I wanted to bring up some interesting Bears news too. We got, man, some things, rumors running around about Pittsburgh interested in the 9th pick, but then they're trying to trade for Allen Robinson, a former Bear. You know what I'm saying?
And hey,
all this crazy stuff.
There's all types of rumors right now going on, especially around this time of the season. When we got the off season going on and the draft right around the corner, it's gonna get crazy these next couple of days. Let's go ahead and bring in the man, the tank. His name is Frank.
I love that. It's a nice little kicker, man. I like that shit.
You know, I'm getting better and better at this shit.
I'm with foul today. I realize I'm all out of alcohol in my house. I'm only drinking water.
Oh shit, dilly.
Right? Damn it, ran out. Thought I still had some whiskey left. I was out, and then I'm out of beer too. Like, god damn it. Still no Morris here in the suburbs, though.
I've been by myself before. Ain't nothing.
Shout out to Moore's Beer.
Shout out to Morris.
Raise your standard.
Please bring your brand to the suburbs.
Mm.
I don't have any out here.
Because Frank needs some.
I need some.
Yeah.
I finally got my Heralds. Now I need to get my Moors.
Yeah. Well, you know, we got a special guest coming on today. You know, he did tell us that he is up to date on things and rumors that's going on with the Bears, and actually he's a former NFL player. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our special guest.
What's up, fellas?
Hey,
what's going on,
brother?
What's good with y'all? What's good, man? Glad to be here. Appreciate y'all having me.
Happy to have you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So let's, get started. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself, Justin. What you've been doing these days?
Yeah, most definitely, man. So things came kind of full circle for me coming back to Chicago. I was born here, didn't get a chance to grow up in the city. Learn very quickly unless you got an intersection that you don't claim Chicago. So I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. My mother and I, we went over there. That's where I learned how to play football, man. Got a chance to play at a really good high school out there. Got about 30 scholarship offers. Ended up choosing the University of Illinois. So that's how I come back. That's where my orange and blue comes from in my household. Had a good 5 years down there. Then had the chance to go on and play with the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans for another 5 years. Yeah. So again, things coming full circle. Had a chance to come back to the city in 2018. Got really involved with the NFLPA and just had the chance to ascend to the president of the Chicago chapter. So like I said, man, things coming full circle.
Yeah,
glad to be here. Yeah, I think the family's going to be here for the long haul, man.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Now
Definitely
you said something right there, man. Welcome back to Chicago.
Appreciate it, bro.
Love for the fam, you know what I'm saying? But
and luckily you didn't go from any tropical weather, though. You just went from shit.
Yeah,
shit
man.
weather to shit weather.
You know about the bipolar weather, man?
Used to it, man. That lake effect, it ain't no joke.
No, it ain't going nowhere. Summer, spring, fall, it's always there. But you said, for many people that don't know, the NFLPA Chicago's chapter. Dig into that a little bit.
Yes, sir. So the NFLPA is our union. It serves as the facilitating entity for all of the former players' services. We're broken down into, I believe, roughly we have 34 active chapters with a couple probationary chapters on the way. I think we have Utah and Kansas City actually just got their permanent status. So pretty much we mirror where the 32 franchises are located almost to a T. There are chapters in like Mississippi, Birmingham, and some areas where you have a congregation of former players just that were, they kind of from that area. And it's, again, broken down to different cities. You have the governing board for the different cities. We have Chicago here. What's unique about our chapter is we have the NFLPA, which is, again, our 501c6, our union. But then we have the RPFPC, the Retired Professional Football Players of Chicago. And that's our 501c3, another entity that allows us to be really just active in the community, give back as much as we can, and have no limits on what we can do in the community.
Man, that's awesome.
That's awesome for sure.
Yeah.
Because
we need that.
They talk about that, right?
Yeah.
Right here in our backyard, we talk about it heavy.
Definitely.
Our beloved 85 Bears be talking about it.
Yeah, man, it's definitely something that gets to kind of bridge that generational gap and get us involved with a lot of those guys and see some of the pitfalls that hit that generation. My father actually was a former ball player as well. He played under Dennis Green. So right here in Northwestern, 1980 to 82, he was up here, but he's from St. Louis. So he went back to Mizzou to finish out his career. So it's just something that you see with that generation, man. It's like they didn't have the same paychecks, quite frankly. First and foremost, to start there. Then they didn't have the same type of resources available to them post-career. And you see unfortunate situations happen when guys aren't, protected after the game. And it's a good thing that the PA is beginning to be, I think, more broadcasted and more people are becoming aware earlier on in their post-football career.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, They didn't get some of the, even with the when it comes down to the modern medicine, you know, and the all the knowledge that the people that the doctors and everybody know about as far as when it comes down to concussions and even the rule. You know, because back then, like you said, back then they were tearing your head off. It wasn't no coming across the middle back then.
None of it.
There were no
And then
fines for taking people's
getting
heads
that
off.
up.
No, it was encouraged.
Exactly. It was a part of the game, definitely.
Some people literally got busted saying that they tried hurting people. Let's not forget when that era went on.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, you wasn't really considered a wide receiver unless you went across the middle. All that going vertical, that wasn't called being a wide receiver. You had to go across that middle, really earn that paycheck.
Yeah,
and
man.
earn that
Different game back then. Different game.
Yeah,
Take a hit from Chuck Cecil and get up. It's like, man, that's an extra 10 grand right there. Let's get it. But speaking of that, so with the CBA, how do you all kind of maneuver through that? Because I know that's a hot button topic, especially what's going on with Lamar Jackson and how they wanted to change everything because of the guaranteed money deal. But then we just saw what happened with Jalen. So it's like, yeah, you didn't get guaranteed, but you gave the upfront. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, are they cutting their nose despite their face, Justin?
I believe so. I think that there's linguistics that are going to kind of be continually be disputed on because they see a domino effect that's going to come. The second one gets that language guaranteed, then the next is going to get that language guaranteed, and eventually the domino is going to fall to where you see guarantee is going to be the floor of any negotiation beyond position, because you see it's going to start with quarterbacks, then it's going to go to left tackles, then it's going to go to edge rushers, then it's going to go to corners, and it's just going to continue to snowball until everybody is requesting that, that's in that demographic to be able to, have those negotiations. And it's something that, again, when you look at previous generations, you learn from the pitfalls that what happened to them. So going forward, I feel like this is going to be our fight. The new CBA, we don't get a new CBA until 2030, I believe. So we kind of, under the constraints right now of what's been previously negotiated. But these conversations are constantly on the table, man. And it's something that I believe that, again, we're going to be able to hang our hats on when we're able to kind of start getting those guaranteed contracts and just getting better language around, the protection of players. Because, again, this is a game that we all love, but we got to make sure that people will be able to have sustained ability to, be able to continue on their life post-football.
Yeah, for sure.
That's you hit the nail on the head. The most violent sport does not have the guaranteed money. That's crazy.
It's by business model, and being a business owner and understanding from that perspective, when you look at it, if I line up a football player, a basketball player, and a baseball player, and I say I'm gonna give each of them 10-year contracts, well, baseball, I'm gonna assume he's gonna play 9 to 10 healthy seasons, 8 to 10 healthy seasons. Basketball probably 7 or 8, 7 to 10, depending on how lucky you are. But football, you're looking at probably 5 healthy seasons completely, lucky, if you're lucky. If you love it, and then a couple more seasons, you're going to be at like 75%, 80, and then probably a couple more seasons where you're going to be completely, null and void. So it's a situation that we're kind of battling with. But again, I think once we get the protection of the athlete at the forefront, then these negotiations will kind of go a little bit smoother on the athlete's perspective.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thank you for that.
We actually got a question from the chat. My man A. Stewart says, "Who's your head coach when you play for the Illini?"
Yeah, man. So I came in during the Zook era. So
Zook.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The heyday of Illini football. They getting back now. I think we finally gonna see a draft class coming out this year that'll be able to rival some of the talent that we were able to bring in. But yeah, I committed to Illinois literally right after, the same season, but the Rose Bowl year. The year we went out there, we nearly won.
That year.
Went out there to USC. Haven't beat Ohio State since, but that was a good thing to hang my hat on being in Cleveland at the time. I had a good homeboy of mine. He played at Ohio State. He was a class ahead of me from my high school. So he was in that game. And, that was good shit talking between us. And, that really, helped me really feeling good about the Illini. We didn't get to beat the Buckeyes when I was down there, but we had some real good success. We beat RG3 and Phil Taylor and Josh Gordon and them in the Texas Bowl in 2010. We beat UCLA back-to-back years. So that had been 2010, 2011. Back-to-back.
That was a killer defense back then, man. I remember that defense carried them.
Man, we were crazy on the defensive side. We put a lot of talent, again, like I said, from first rounders on down to undrafted free agents that were able to hang their hats in the league for a couple of years. So a lot of success in our times, man. And it's good to see that Brett Bielema was kind of getting us back to that.
Yeah, and I wanted to backtrack a little bit before we got into U of I, because I know You were named to the Cleveland Plain Dealer All-State team in high school,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
I'm sure with that, and I mean, you had good size to you too, and everything. What made you choose U of I? I figured you had a lot of other places you could have chose to go.
He said
to.
30.
Yeah. So actually, when it came down to my final five, I believe my final five was like Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Ohio State, Michigan State,
Hey.
Tennessee. Yeah.
No Wolverines in there.
Nah, man, they wanted me to play receiver. So I was under the Lloyd Carr era. I was the last of the Lloyd Carr recruiting classes. Scott Moeller was my recruiting coach. He was from Barberton, Ohio, so semi from the area that I was from. Offensive guy, though, and he wanted to recruit me to the offensive side of the ball. And I was like, man, listen, you don't want to see me running routes. That's just not in the pool, bro. I am a defender in my genetics. Like, I have been born to chase the rock. Like, I just want to hit people. I ain't trying to catch no ball. So that didn't pan out for me on the Michigan side. But really, it came down to the last three I was seriously considering was Ohio State, Michigan State, Illinois. Michigan State, Coach Dan Tony's staff, they were cool, liked everything about the facilities and all that. It just Illinois had too many things that they couldn't compete with on the coaching staff sides, but also the location. Like it was perfect. Like I mentioned, my mother's whole side of the family is from Chicago. My father's whole side of the family is from St. Louis. Champaign is dead in the middle of both. It's dead in the
makes
middle.
Sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then on top of that, at the time, we mentioned the talent that we were bringing in. It was right after the Rose Bowl year. Michigan State had some good success as well, and then O State was always O State. But again, I didn't want to go into the fray in Ohio State. I think they were just trying to keep me in state. One of those things, they were kind of leaving the verbal offer out there for me for a minute, and then the second I committed to Illinois, then they wanted to come in with the written type situation. One of those things where they had recruited a bunch of guys in the class ahead of me at the position, so that just wasn't going to work out. So Illinois it was, and yeah, definitely loved my decision, man. I'd make it 10 times out of 10 again.
Big 10 love for
Don't
sure.
worry about beating them, brother. Ohio State, we kicking their ass now. So
yeah.
Didn't you beat them 1 year?
I ain't get them. I ain't get them. I don't think we got them since like 07. So we gonna get them soon though.
It's a well-oiled machine up there, man.
They are, man. Great coaching, great. Yeah, damn.
It is. They got the pedigree up there. So, hey, but it's good though when you got to cut your teeth against that in the division every year. It, let you know where you got to be. So we ain't too far off.
Yeah, I mean, as a U of I fan, I'm really hoping U of I can really turn their pretty much football careers around over there because they've been they had a solid start this year.
Yeah.
And they did get a couple of very nice defensive players. One I'm sure we're going to wind up talking about when we talk about Bears draft and Witherspoon.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they had a very good defense. But again, it just seems like they're very identical to how it is in Chicago. They can't seem to find a damn offense.
Yeah. And I think that continuity was really the issue for a while down in Champaign. Just having that turnover. Going from you had Cubitt's staff, then going to Lovey's staff, then now coming over to Bielema, just learning the different systems and what personnel really was going to work for each staff. So now that there he is, that's the man.
We love him here in Chicago.
I love that Tampa too, man. That defense used to hold it down. So I wish it would have gave him a better shake down there, but
we're talking about building him a statue right now because he's the reason why we got that number 1 pick and got that huge haul for it because he decided to go for it on go for a 2-point conversion on the last game of the season to get us the number 1 spot. So
still holding it down for the Bears.
Yeah, gotta love him.
So Justin, they talk about the process since we coming up on that before because we always kid me and Foul for sure that NFL players are bred in the Big Ten and the SEC, sure, But talk about pro days and the whole draft combine process, man. How was any of that just through your lens?
Yeah, through my lens, man, it was tumultuous. I kind of got into a little situation going into my senior year, so I didn't get the acclaim that I think that I was deserved for my talent that I had, displayed on the field in the seasons prior. So I didn't get the big combine invite. I just didn't really get that part of the experience, but I killed my pro day. I was a part of a class that we had 5 guys signed as undrafted free agents, and a lot of us made our names and cut our teeth really on our pro day. So for mine personally, my journey was going down to, I trained at CES Performance in Duluth, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. So it was just really a time of locking in, man. I don't think I had ever focused on anything to that extent at that point. Being isolated, I hadn't really, to that point in my life, lived anywhere but the Midwest. So being in a completely different region of the country, having nothing to focus on but football, it just got me to a different point. I was able to, increase my bench, get my, my 40 down to where it needed to be, and really take off at that pro day. So we obviously Big Ten school, we had pretty much every organization represented at the pro day.
Right.
All good numbers. I was able to get brought in for a locals workout in Cleveland, killed that as well. And then they ended up being the ones that signed me on as an undrafted free agent on the last day of the draft. So yeah, that was, again, being not invited to the combine, kind of knew that it was going to be a long shot for me to be drafted, but did have communication towards the latter stages of the draft with a couple teams, Houston, Seattle, a couple teams that called me. So I was anticipating things, but nothing really materialized there. So when Cleveland called me, man, it was just all steam ahead after that.
Okay.
Hey, I mean, but that's great insight right there, because that sort of lets us know how this draft process goes that we don't really know about. Because like you said, we're from the outside looking in, and since you're an individual that's gone and went through it, we can sit up there and now get some insight on as far as guys that really wasn't talked about early on in the beginning. But when it comes down to later on, as the draft is getting closer, now you hear about guys sitting up there, oh yeah, well, this individual was contacted by this team, he came in and flew in and had an interview with this team. So, man, that's great stuff. Matter of fact, we got one of our guys that actually has his own show on Thursdays. My man Easy, he wants to come in and ask you a few questions as well. So come on in, Easy.
What's up, guys? How's it going, Justin?
What's up, fam? How you doing?
I'm chilling. I'm right now. I was gonna come in with an update about the White Sox. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I was gonna come in with like
what's going on. We can't see you. We don't see that mic all up.
Yeah, where's that? Yeah, where's
that? Oh, there you go.
Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I got you.
All right, good. I was gonna come in and give y'all an update about the White Sox because they were pitching a no-hitter, but just as I joined, Brandon Marsh broke it up in the 8th inning. So White Sox almost had a no-no, but they weren't able to.
Did they have 0 runs to go along with that no-no?
No, they had 3.
There's probably still nothing.
I think Berger hit a 3-run home run, but they had only like
and that's all the runs they still got.
Yeah, it was just one home run, just a 3-run shot in the 4th inning.
All that offense on paper, they don't give you shit.
Yep, always paper champions, right? But yeah, I wanted to, I saw that you, Justin, were you have such a high role in the NFLPA. Yeah. And, the NFLPA has always interested me. And I guess, and forgive me if you've already touched on this because I was only able to hear, half of what you've talked about so far. But I guess what are, your hopes for NFL players going forward? And, what would you like to see happen as, such a prominent leader in the association?
Most definitely. We didn't really get to touch on this too much, but we did kind of allude to a couple topics that I did want to kind of give spotlight to. So with concussions being very prevalent in the game of football, probably the most prevalent out of any of the organized sports, I think that we really need to do whatever we can to flesh out that space and figuring out what we can get as, deterrents to the neural degenerative properties that are being brought up by CTE. And all the neurocognitive degeneration that players are facing. With that being said, what I had done personally post my playing career, I went into the cannabis industry, regulated cannabis industry out here. That's actually what brought me back to Chicago, joining a multi-state operator and learning, really on the obviously regulated side and the corporate aspect of it, but really diving into what the plant can do as a deterrent for that neurocognitive degeneration. Just seeing real good information coming out about it, again, being a deterrent in closed head impact studies. Israel has really good information because they haven't been under the same restrictions and guidelines that we have with cannabis still being a federally regulated property here in the U.S. So they have real good studies coming out of Israel about how it can be a deterrent for us. So finding anything that we can, since that is the most major issue afflicted that pretty much any football player is afflicted. I think they said that if you play up to senior year of high school, that you have some varying degree of CTE, and obviously the further you go, the more it's going to exponentially increase. So I feel like if I can have any type of legacy, any type of lasting impact on the PA, it's fleshing out that space and the protection of guys' head. I mean, because right now we're in a space where you can't even find out how bad your CTE is until you're dead and until they can dissect your brain and figure out what's there. So, I mean, we're going to have to pay our dues. And unfortunately, we're going to have to take from the negative situations that we're seeing now from our generation and then again build on it and see, and hopefully that we can get future generations to avoid it.
So interesting. Yeah. Go ahead, Frank.
Oh, I was gonna bring up too, since you brought up the concussions, and I love how we're trying to find a way to solve it. But I know last year, I don't know what was going on this year, but last year, it happened a lot this year, regardless. But I think they said 80% of the concussions is usually due to the back of the head hitting off the ground. Is there a softer surface that they could put in there or something? Because that's very hard to avoid, I feel.
Yeah, and then I think that if you start messing with the surface, then you're going to start seeing a lot of lower body extremity injuries, kind of like we're seeing with natural grass versus turf. So that might be the same thought path. Okay, we're going to get on the artificial surface, but then now we're going to create another issue. So I think it's going to be more so, even though I hate them big, silly looking nets that you see players with in practice and stuff like that, it's going to have to be something along those lines, but internally, so where it don't look all goofy like that and, it being potentially can fall off and not have the effect that it needs to have in order to decrease that impact. Because to your point, if that's what we need to protect, the back of the head, then we need to find some more back of the head protection versus trying to change the surface. So we need to protect the player's individual head versus, you see what I'm saying? I think something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna come up on Shark Tank or something with
something. So I got a question related to that, not to go into great detail, but the studies that are going on, and you mentioned that because of CTE, that unfortunately we've only been able to find out of our players that we've lost, right? But current player, one comes to mind right off the bat. Tua Tagovailoa.
Yep.
How would that, collectively now help him? Because to me, like you said, 3 to 5, 5 to 7 years of healthy football, it ain't always I tore a ligament,
Right. Yeah, and I think that Tua, especially with his situation last year, you're starting to see where it's an issue when you have repetitive concussions, kind of stack up on top of each other.
3 in 1 year, pretty much, didn't he?
Exactly. It was 3 in the course of 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
5 or 6 weeks.
Insane.
So it's, if I remember correctly, it's called second impact syndrome, something along those lines. I think when I was coming out of high school or in college, unfortunately, I think out of Pennsylvania, a high school player died from it or had some type of severe disabilities because of this. But anyways, I think that for Tua in situations like that, we're going to have to get better with the third-party spotting and getting players out of the game that are displaying any type of symptoms. And if you get to a certain point, then it's going to have some type of regulations that, hey, all right, this is a 1 week sit-out process versus this is 1 month. And I think he was at a point to where it should have been longer than normal. I think normally it's a week that you have to sit out, or at least until you can pass your baseline test again. But that's a situation to where we're going to have to really pay it cautious until we can get more scientific advancements to study people's brains actively to be able to determine, okay, this is going to be where we need to determine the safe level for you to be able to go back and take another similar impact and not have this result.
I was watching, a few months ago, Inside the NFL, and Brandon Marshall and Julian Edelman were talking about how they, just their perspective on the whole concussion protocol situation. They were kind of just saying that they feel when they have to get tested as players, sometimes they just kind of want to forego that and go back into the game because there's some, I guess there are examples of some players who are willing to accept the risk that comes from playing football. You play football, you're going to get concussions. Can you speak a little to that and whether or not those opinions are valid or if you just talk about that, the other side, I guess.
I'm sorry, I was kind of doing two things at once. So I think you're saying about essentially protecting players from themselves that want to be able to push the envelope and say, hey, I'm going back in and stuff along those lines, right?
Yes, because at the end of that, I see their side. It's their body, it's their head, but at the same time, you gotta,
sometimes you don't think straight.
But that's what the
that's where they come into play. You don't have a role in that when it comes on your head.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I see their perspective. I don't agree with that necessarily, but it's a kind of more of a devil's advocate thing. And I want to say, like, how do you feel about the other side?
Yeah, with guys trying to play past it, I mean, that is their personal decision. But again, when you're relying on third-party spotters, you're taking that decision away from player, coach, essentially anybody organizationally in order to protect the player. I've been in a million positions myself where throughout high school and college where, exactly to your point, because when you're, even into the pros, man, where, if I'm fighting and I'm scratching, I'm clawing, and I know tomorrow isn't guaranteed, then I'm not about to take myself out the game. I'm not about to tell them, hey, it's kind of fuzzy right now. And I definitely know I played through some situations where I probably shouldn't have, but it's, again, we're going to have that third party spotting elevated to the point to where, okay, any type of symptom that's being displayed, we got to pull that player out and essentially take that decision away from them. You're not in your right sound mind at that point, due to organizational pressures, due to the game situation, just due to your adrenaline, due to your natural competitive nature. Like that decision, unfortunately, can't remain with the player.
That makes sense.
Yeah, ton of sense. Thank you for that. So moving right back along now, talk about this pro that you came into, because hell, you came right into the fray in Cleveland, man. We watched you. We knew what you did in U of I. So when you came in, man, talk about that a little bit, because you did say that is the team that contacted you on the last day of the draft.
Yeah.
So now you in it. Now you NFL bound, baby. Let's dig into it.
Yeah, man. So really the craziest thing I think seeing coming after that process, once I finally got to the Browns, got in the locker room and all that, is just seeing how serious the turnover was and how, okay, you can have contract, and back to our original point talking about guaranteed contracts, nothing's guaranteed. So, hey, whenever they want to, they can show you the door. So long story short, my roommate and I for rookie minicamp signed the exact same contract. And his name was Papai Falamalu. He was a brother out of Hawaii. Great name. Where Hawaii is, where Cleveland is. Long story short, I didn't realize that we were in direct neck-and-neck competition, because at the position they drafted number 6, Barkevious Mingo out of LSU. So he's already at the position. They signed that offseason, rest in peace, Quentin Groves, out of Auburn, and then he played with the Cardinals, the Raiders, before he got to Cleveland. Then they had just paid Jabal Sheard. They just brought over Paul Kruger from Baltimore. So the room is pretty much set. But I'm performing well. They end up keeping me over the brother from Hawaii. They literally had his bags packed. I just realized how real the league was when we finished our last practice that Sunday, and he was already on a flight back to Hawaii before I got back to the room.
God,
he just had those decisions made. I mean, and like, again, we both signed the same undrafted free agent contract. That should guarantee you a seat into camp. That's supposed to guarantee you a spot onto the 90-man roster. But the turnover at the time, they had to make them roster decisions, and it just showed you, really just opened your eyes like, hey, this ain't college no more. This ain't high school no more. You got to hit it every single day. And that was just my mentality. Luckily enough, I was able to learn multiple positions. I played inside and outside linebacker. I had to get switched to inside linebacker literally 3 days before the first game. Like, it was nut cruncher time, man. And it's something that made me better for being able to go through that, and again, being able to study multiple positions at the same time and see the business side of something, and just know that, hey, man, you got other people's livelihoods are depending on you, so you got to go out there and you got to get it.
You got to hump. Who was that coach at the time? Was that Cornell?
I had Rod Chizitsky. I had Rod Chizitsky for 1 year, and then I had Mike Pettin for my next camp.
Okay.
So,
right, and then you went to Tennessee.
And then I went down to Tennessee. That was in 2014. So I went from Pettin to Ken Wisenhunt was my first coach down in Tennessee, and then I ended up with Mike Malarkey.
And that was your NFL debut, was with Tennessee, though, right, against Philly?
Yes, my regular season debut. Yep. Yeah, so which against Philly, man, that's probably the most hostile environment that you can go into as a debut. My mother and my wife was there. They didn't understand. You can't argue with them fans. because
you could respectfully say that they're a bunch of assholes over there.
Yeah. I mean,
they take that as a compliment.
They hang their hat on it, so.
No shade to the Philly fans watching.
No, hey, other than the Raiders, I don't know any other of
asshole place. Look here, the Philly fans know they fucking assholes. Ain't no point apologizing to their ass. They know they assholes.
They hang.
No, they like it. That's high praise.
Fucking veterans at Santa Claus, man. What the fuck?
That is every single sport. Philly is assholes. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter the sport.
Literally.
Even the Philly fanatics.
Some shit.
Yeah,
hey, you know, Justin, we got a question from my man Trey Fifth.
Okay.
He said, Justin, do you see the different version of the Tampa 2 from Lovey, or is it the same defense?
So it has.
Using a 3-4 though, wasn't you?
I'm sorry.
Using a 3-4 though, wasn't you?
I played in both. I played in the 4-3. I played in the 3-4. So when I came into Illinois, we had a 4-3. Played in the 3-4 when we switched to Vic Koning. That was my third year. So when we went over, that's when we actually started winning games. Then I played in the 4-3 again. I think vaguely we had concepts under my first defense in Tennessee. So you see the similarities, you see the intricacies that, all right, it might be named something different, but essentially, especially on the coverage side, a lot of it plays similarly when you kind of just see what bodies is going to be taking over which coverage concept versus, okay, is it a nickel, is it a linebacker, whatever the case may be. But with Lovey's Tampa 2, I mean, it had multitudes to it. You had different ways that you could play underneath as a linebacker with man concepts and match concepts versus zone concepts and things of that nature. It's just the fact that knowing where the cover 2 holes are, that vertical shot, you know what I'm saying, things underneath and stuff like that, it kind of can get exposed if you don't get out of it. So I think that's what we've seen sometimes with some of Lovey's systems not being as multiple as he can be. But hey, when it works, you don't break it.
You're clearly very knowledgeable, and like you said, you were a versatile linebacker playing inside, outside. Have you ever had any interest in coaching, like in the future or down the line?
Yeah, definitely, man. That's something that I think that when the time is right and the stars align, as y'all can probably hear my son screaming in the background, that I have that in mind, especially now, being a new father, want to be able to, if he does ever show the interest, coach him. Appreciate y'all. But yeah, if he ever does show the interest, then I definitely want to be out there and coach him, just because it's like, that's just the one sport, man. I can let go in any other sport. Like, you can play basketball, you play baseball, soccer, it don't matter. And like, I don't have to be the coach. But if it's football, like, it's just, I don't know. I got to be able to kind of impart this knowledge that, has been generationally passed down.
Yeah, we do have another question that came up. This is always a funny question to have conversations about too. It's from our guy, Jeremy. Playing both college and pro, he wants your opinion. Will the best college football team beat the worst NFL football team?
No chance.
No.
Thank you.
No chance.
I don't understand why people think that shit too, man.
No chance.
When did that ever really become a thing? Like,
the only sport where that's semi-possible is baseball.
No, it's possible in basketball. Actually, I think it's happened in basketball, but
maybe.
I've seen good Division II teams beat bad Division I teams in basketball, but I don't know if I've ever seen a
the Olympic team. Remember the college team beat the pros.
I don't remember that one, but with college and pros, on the football side, it's just the fact that I think that people think that because the best college team is so much better than the worst college team, that it puts them in par with the NFL teams, but they don't realize how talented and how advanced the NFL level is over the best college. Because you got to think, although the NFL team might be at the bottom of the ranks within the NFL, those are still all professional players that were the best at their colleges where they were at. So you still essentially are playing an experienced all-star college team. There's no chance.
Hear me out. What about an all-star team like of only the best SEC players?
No.
I'm with you.
Like, they just know. Like, take, for example, Jordan Davis coming out last year out of Georgia. He mauling cats. Like, he can't be moved. Like, he immovable. He get in the league. There's like, you getting them fucking league. There's one like that on every team. Maybe not to that size, but of that magnitude and of that that talent level, there's one on every single team. So it's true. Commonplace.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I believe that, Frank, to answer your question, That was that Olympic team right before Michael Jordan and they beat Larry Bird and them guys.
Well, at least it was before Michael Jordan.
That was the college team that beat
Rig, man.
Yeah, basketball, baseball, I can see.
It was a basketball a little different.
Chuck Daly said they that shit up like yeah.
As a diehard hockey fan,
they told them motherfucking kids a new asshole after that.
Yeah, look, it only happened once.
Right.
As a diehard hockey fan, I will say that will never happen.
Yeah, and it was weird.
College hockey team.
It was the sun shines on the dogs.
Never
some days.
Yeah, that Edmonton Kings
every now and then.
Amazing.
Okay, we'll take
what
this.
What we're going to do is we're going to actually go into a commercial.
Let's hit it.
Yeah, we're going to go into a commercial. I'm over here rocking in the... Yeah, I'm rocking my In the Zone t-shirt right now, so you guys should go ahead and pick up your In the Zone t-shirt, polo, whatever it is that you may like.
Actually, it goes
Get
very
yours.
hard. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. It's a nice fit too. It's good on
it. Got the link right there. Anyone wants to get it.
There you go. Go ahead and get one.
Not just. I mean, as sharp as foul looks, that nice lightweight compression type one. Those are very, very nice. They do have basic Under Armour shirts. They now have the leggings for the women. So
it's legging season, ladies. You know we love to see you.
It is legging season right now. We finally got spring in April, like how you were saying before.
I mean, women I see out here walking around these damn leggings. Shit, get you an In the Zone legging. Shit, make us happy. Give us something to look at.
Oh damn.
He needs a bonk for that. That's a horny bonk right there.
Back to football.
Hey, and just promote shit. Yeah, we love to see the ladies in the leggings, but like you said, football. Jay, so are you a Chicago Bears fan? You born?
Yeah, definitely, man. I follow. I think that, you know, when you get into the league, you kind of step away from fandom a little bit, but I'm always a proponent of, you know, I'm going to root for it and pull for, you know, where I'm at. It ain't where you from, is where you at. So definitely been following the Bears a lot more since I've been back.
I always like to bring this up too. Any of like former players. Is the Bears probably the worst field conditions in the NFL when you played in Chicago?
Yeah.
Not one person has said no.
Yeah,
one person has said no.
The only places that kind of could compete were the Raiders when they still had to share the field with the Athletics out there.
When they had the baseball field on.
They had the baseball diamond and you out there sliding on third base while you trying to cover a receiver or something like that. So, I think that was probably the only one that could compete. But Soldier Field, unfortunately, has that title. And I'm definitely on the record. I'm one proponent of keeping the Bears at Soldier Field. They just got to do something about the field.
But I mean, the only way the Bears are going to even consider that is if Chicago gave them the rights to the field,
of course,
to Soldier Field. But they won't.
There's no chance that it's going to happen. At least, you know, on the business side. But I just think that, you know, having that backdrop of the skyline, being on Lake Shore, like
you can't beat it.
You can't beat it, man. You can't beat it. It's just.
But I don't miss staring at that lake in the middle of November, December, fucking negative 20 degrees outside, getting hit with that wind chill up in the upper deck bleachers.
But when you got the Rams and the Niners coming in, now they got to deal with it too.
Yeah, so. Hands down, I agree with that.
Saying. And Justin, like I'm with you on that, and like obviously a lot of us feel that way, like. You know, first of all, bear weather could absolutely be a thing if you wanted it to be. You know, if you want to build your team around, you know, being able to play December cold football games, more power to you. But my one concern is, you know, are NFL free agents enticed by going to Chicago? If, you know, like it's the same reason why you don't see a lot of free agents going to Buffalo all the time or Green Bay. I hate to say it, but, you know, or even New England. You know, I feel like is there, you know, money is a factor, but also like, I mean,
but also I feel like all players are enticed to winning because at the end of the day, if the team's winning, then individually you're winning because now your contract negotiations are gonna go a lot better. Your endorsement deal is gonna be a lot fatter. Everything gonna be better because the team winning. So you stack up a couple good winning seasons here. Ain't no telling the type of talent you're gonna be able to track. So right back to your point, Buffalo couldn't attract talent for a minute, but then they started winning. Now you get Stephon Diggs, now you get Von Miller, now you get guys that want to come play, and not only just come play, Von Miller is serving as a dang on ambassador of Buffalo, trying to recruit everybody out there. So,
but that's dig a little deeper because
that's an interesting point, actually.
Most recently, look at all the free agents that are flocking to Kansas City. It ain't hot in Kansas City.
No, it's because Patrick Mahomes is hot in Kansas City.
You know
that winning,
that winning.
Pittsburgh right now. You know,
Pittsburgh over the years always had top free agents.
Well, let me ask you this question too, because would you consider it more if you play more in the cold weather? If you go and play in a hot weather type place, it's easier than a hot weather team coming to play in cold.
Yeah,
hands down. So that's why I never really understand that because if you're going into a playoff game in freezing cold weather, man, that's going to be a struggle if you're from LA and shit like that.
Exactly. And there's really no way to simulate it, and that's the issue. So you got to think the ball is harder in cold weather, so that's going to be harder for the receivers to catch. And when you're doing the opposite, when you're in the cold weather climate, getting acclimated for a warm weather climate, you can go indoors, you can practice in the bubble, you can make it hot and humid in there, you can tell guys to start hydrating a week and a half, 2 weeks before. There's a million things that you can do to get ready for that hot climate. And again, on the inverse, you can't really do that to get ready for the cold climate. So it's you just got to get off them buses and you got to play. So
we did have another question in here since we're talking about the Bears. You know, this might be a good question for you, Justin Fields. Excited?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd say most of Chicago is pretty damn excited to see.
And you're allowed
in his future.
You're allowed to not be, by the way.
Just no, I feel you.
No, we have somebody who isn't, and you know.
No, I'm a fan though, and I'm not just saying that because y'all Bears fans. I believe that Fields has all the tools of what you need from the position in this era. It's just about protecting them, and I think that with the first pick, you have to mirror that because he is the franchise, and you're going to have to invest in the position. And right now, while you have him on his rookie contract, the best way to invest in his position is get him weapons. They started doing that with DJ Moore, a couple other things that I feel like they're going to do in Target. But now you got to protect the man. And if you protect them and you get them weapons and you get them a run game and you do all these things, then you can get an accurate assessment of them. Because then now if the offense isn't moving forward after that, okay, now we got to address the quarterback position. But right now, I think that the way that he played and the things that he showed last year, there's no reason to believe that he couldn't make the same type of jump that a Josh Allen made, the same jump that a Jalen Hurts even just made when you get him that dog number one receiver and then you protect him and you protect him especially with a run game. So
he had a way better second year than Josh Allen did in his second year. Way better.
And then again,
and really like when we saw that jump from Josh Allen was between his second year and third year.
Once they went out and got him some weapons.
They got him a
receiver. I want
receiver.
to throw out a name real quick that I've seen might be released. Dalvin Cook. How we feel about that? If as a potential Bear, personally,
it's a lot of money.
That's my issue with it is the money.
That's a lot of money for a position that I don't really see a huge threat right now.
That's my main concern as well as money. But if you could get him on like a 1-year deal for a lot, the Bears still have a bunch of cap space. I don't know if you take a 1-year deal necessarily, but
he would want to come here just to give it back to Minnesota for letting him go. That's like pretty much the only reason why he would come here for less money. But
fair. Yeah, I'm more of a back by committee guy. So
yeah,
it's just unfortunate that the running position, it's still valuable. It is. I will never say that it's not valuable, especially in cold weather here like Chicago. But it's just not as valuable as it was. It's all about quarterbacks and receivers now.
Yeah, nature of the game, but.
And not only that, he's also a guy that has been known to be hurt a lot. He's been dinged up a couple seasons. Yeah. And at that premium position right there where guys do probably take the most hits in the NFL, you're making a gamble. Like you said, that's going to be money because he ain't coming for peanuts. The guy wants some
that's
money.
true. And
Yeah,
I
so,
also think I think the Foreman signing is. I'm actually with you, Anthony. But I think the Foreman signing, I think he's a really underrated, solid player. I think he'll do just fine in the offense.
I like that signing. I do.
I think it's great.
Yeah, because he is another good receiving back out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
He may not give you as much as you'd want because it still hurts. For me, it still hurts that Montgomery left him with Detroit. I hope Don Burr's in the chat. When I say fuck Detroit, but that's going to be a lethal team this year, and
yeah, that's going to be.
It's gonna be tough.
That might be our biggest threat, but we'll see.
Like I said, I'm going to wait and see because Detroit is known to.
Hands down, you're correct.
So
even when they had Megatron
until
and
they
all
show
that.
me something. I mean, I know they got hot at the end of the season.
That's a fair point.
Kudos, but until I sit up and see that for a full fucking season, I ain't worried about no goddamn Lions. Okay, Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my, I don't give a fuck. I'm not worried about no damn Lions. They can sit up there and still remain at the bottom of the shitter like they normally are. So
who would you put in any threat in our division then? Because if the Vikings lose Cook, Vikings ain't gonna be shit.
I mean, people may sit up there and say the Vikings ain't gonna be shit, and people may not like Kirk Cousins, but the motherfucker puts up numbers.
Yeah, not in the second half of the season, he don't.
I mean,
also,
shit, you got
Aaron
Justin
Rodgers
Jefferson.
hasn't been traded yet, so
they got Justin Jefferson. That's all that they're gonna have right now. He's gonna make any quarterback look good.
Speaking of Justin Jefferson, Justin Staples, I'm wondering how do you what do you want who do you want the Bears to draft?
I think that
drum roll.
Again, man, I think that there's one guy that makes the most sense when I'm looking at the draft board. So I'm looking at all the mock drafts. You got to protect the quarterback. And I think the best way that you do that is by taking the local guy, Peter Skronsky. I believe I'm saying the last name right, from Northwestern. He's a local guy.
Really?
He could be the right tackle. I'm thinking. I think so. I'm sorry.
It's a scare.
It's a scare, but
because
I feel like
people, and again, people can be wrong. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
All the people out there can be wrong, but he's just not fit as an NFL tackle because he's got those short arms.
He could be,
but I mean, we don't need a guard unless Jenkins gets hurt again, and we just signed a all-pro guard this offseason too.
That's a rough assessment, though. Talking about his arm length, to me, that's like Joe Burrow's hand size.
Oh, you're correct.
Can Joe Burrow throw the damn ball? Can he throw the ball?
Yeah, he can throw the damn ball.
And they were doing the same thing. Oh, he has little hands. He can't grip the ball and all that stuff. It's about what you can see. And really, the tackle position is more about your footwork anyway than it is real arm length. So I feel like if he can, again, I'm not in the interview process. I don't see, the intricacies and can't really get a feel on these guys. But if he can at least give you that, hey, man, I've been rooting for the Bears since I can remember football kind of feel, then you go for that guy because he's going to give you his all at every single turn. He ain't going to be sitting here trying to do things to hold up negotiations and stuff when that time comes down the line because he understands the bigger picture about the organization being from the era. And again, I don't know the guy, so I'm just kind of putting that assumption on him, but seeing
he's got that aggressiveness that the Bears want,
and seeing that's a aggressiveness and everything else that he fits in the run game that I've been seeing. That's the stuff I've been reading about. Fits as that right tackle and could be bringing that Big Ten pedigree, to the run game here in Chicago. So, hey, man, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I think that if not him, then definitely O-line, definitely tackle.
I was gonna say that too. Like, say at 9, both him and Paris is there at 9 as well from Ohio State. You would possibly take Skronsky over him?
I'm just having affinity for the local guy, man. I just see what that does in the market. That know what I'm saying. If we were talking about the Browns, then I might say you need to go to Johnson because again you got that Ohio connection. I just seen what it does when people are invested in the organization and they can become that spoke piece within the locker room more so than it's about the intangibles that they can bring to the team versus even just exactly X's and O's.
So say if you are Bears GM right now though, and say the Pittsburgh Steelers, we were talking about this earlier, do call you because this is a big thing that's went on today because the Pittsburgh Steelers are offering their 24th pick this year and a first rounder next year, a second rounder this year and a second rounder next year just to move up to 13. And at 23, I know Foul's gonna love this. That Duan Jones, sorry. Keep thinking Johnson for some reason.
I'm a
Juwan
huge
Jones,
Juwan
the
Jones guy.
other offensive tackle from Ohio State, 6'8", 7'6" wingspan, is available at offensive tackle. He might need a little work on his footwork a little bit, but the guy didn't give up 1 sack all year.
Yeah.
Like, man.
You got to at least consider it, and that sounds like a haul, man. I don't know. That might be hard to pass up.
Exactly. Just, I mean,
Yeah,
I know you want to stay in the top 10 and you want to get the best available.
I don't think it's going to be worth all that.
Well, that's just what the first one that came out. Nobody knows.
I don't think it's going to be worth all that.
Well, I thought that was to go to 9, not to 13.
I don't think it's going to be worth all that. I think it's
what did I say? 13?
Yeah, because Tennessee.
I don't know
has
why the hell I
13.
said 13. Yeah, 9. We have 9. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. 13.
Yeah.
But yeah, from 9, but you're going all the way back to
Even if
24.
I mean, I believe some of that'll be true. Like they may give up some of that, but all that just to move up to number 9, I don't believe that's what they're trying to do. They may give up, like I said, whatever pick that they got this year, maybe a second round pick this year as well, and you may get lucky and get a second round of next year. But for like their pick this year, a first round of next year, a second this year, and a second next year.
It'll look similar to what we gave up for Leonard Floyd in 2016.
Well, that's the question, Frank, right there, because earlier on, they were slated to need a receiver, but they're also in talks of trading the 7th round pick to the Rams to get Allen Robinson.
Well, they did that.
I think they already did.
Right.
Yeah, they already
comes
got
in
that. Yeah, they
this
did
week,
sign
right?
Allen Robinson.
He comes in this week, right?
Yeah.
So they were interested in Jackson Smith and Jimba, but did you need to move up to 9 to get him?
I think he probably. I don't think he'd be there at 23 where they're at though. But
I'm saying there's probably a couple of teams prior.
Yeah.
I mean, before you get to the Bears that you could trade with to jump up. My biggest concern, ironically, Justin, is the Tennessee pick. Because right now, I mean, with Tannehill slated to be, on the move possibly, is Malik Willis ready? Do they need to jump in the top 10 to grab a Hendon Hooker, a Tennessee product? Like, what do you see from that? Because that could directly, in my opinion,
or even if Levis sneaks back to 9 too. Like, I mean,
either one. But I'm saying now all of a sudden Hendon Hooker has come up to be that 5th quarterback that everybody is talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be opposed if I'm Ryan Poles to drop from 9 to 13 to get an extra pick next year, first round, because they're kind of like in a quarterback struggle right now. And that team was built to win now, but now you see the pieces are moving. Hell, we got Nate Davis. Shoot.
I know. And I love that pick.
Yeah.
Justin, I want to ask a question about kind of like.
Oh, easy. He didn't answer my question yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, with Tennessee though, I feel like Tennessee, and you kind of always do see that draft day movement. Just kind of the teams that then held their cards close to their chest and don't really know what they're gonna do until draft day, and they trying to show their hands finally. I think that they definitely could be in that quarterback needy basket because of all the points that you hit with Malik Willis and the fact that they have a new GM coming into this year. So, that new regime they want to have there, their new starting point and all that stuff. And I definitely did also see that, they pretty much had to change into the guard this offseason, getting rid of Taylor Lewan, getting rid of Ben Jones. There's talks about trading Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard. I've seen his negotiations are up and down. So you definitely could see a potential of, we need our new face of the franchise there. And I think that would be to Chicago's benefit if you can get, something, because again, people are going to be doing that jockeying to get that 5th quarterback, that 4th or 5th quarterback, depending on where Levis and Hendon Hooker are at. Then, hey man, play it to your advantage because the Bears are really in a good spot, I think.
I've also heard about potentially when it comes down to Tennessee and maybe trading with the Bears, their DT. That's a 3 technique. That's one of the best in the NFL.
Jeffrey Simmons, you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
But we just got what's the name too from Tennessee?
Davis.
We got like 4 people this offseason from Tennessee. Man.
I'm just saying like the D line. We got what was his name?
I think it was
Walker.
Williams.
It was Walker.
Yeah, DeMarcus Walker. DeMarcus Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had grabbed DeMarcus Walker. So I mean, if they want to be our permanent dance partner this draft, I don't have a problem with that because they got some good people we need. Hell, be honest with you, if we don't pick a lineman, I wouldn't be opposed to kicking the tires on Taylor Lewan for a 1-year friendly deal. You know, I would.
Better than what we have.
Hey, and that's good communication with, like, he's played with Nate Davis before. It's, never a bad thing.
Yeah,
definitely.
I want to ask about offensive linemen, because especially for someone who's played defensive line, outside and inside, like, how important is that, Skoronski's listed at 6'4", Paris Johnson's listed at 6'7". You talked about wingspan not being so important. How important is, like, that height and weight factor when, looking at these guys? Because, I mean, to me, it's all about, like, I don't know how relevant it is when evaluating a player, honestly, and I'd like to pick your brain about that.
Honestly, I think that we like to kind of keep ourselves entertained throughout the offseason with debating these type of things, height, weight, hand length, and arm length, and all that stuff, and it kind of fills up the football void. But a ball player is a ball player, and I think that I learned that first and foremost firsthand.
Damn science.
Back at Illinois. So a local guy, he went to King High School, Jeff Allen. Y'all remember him? He played with the Chiefs and he played with the Texans. He actually won the first ring with the Chiefs. He was on that team. So Jeff came in, he was unranked, 2-star athlete. I mean, love the boy to death, but he's not going to pass the look test when it comes to what if you're going to build the stereotypical offensive lineman. But the boy was a baller, shut down everybody in the Big Ten that he went up against. Started as a true freshman, played he played 4 years, got drafted second round and all that. Then you look at the big stereotypical linemen that we brought in, guys fall apart, that just doesn't really translate and things end up happening. So it's something that, I think that we, kind of pick our brains over and we use it to get through the void when we don't have football, but turn the tape on. The tape is going to be the best assessment of a player versus all the immeasurables and all that. The measurables, I mean, and just all the stuff that you're going to debate throughout the combine and all that nonsense.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
hey, I want to know, Justin, what do you think? I mean, this has been a hot topic in Chicago.
Oh, I was going to say it. I think you're saying it.
What do you think about Jalen Carter?
If he is there at 9.
Hey, man, he's a talent that you have to definitely consider.
That's the answer we get from everybody.
Answer around here, Justin.
That's the answer we get from everybody. You have to consider it. There's no question.
Hey, you might want to take another sip, brother.
Right. You got to consider him, man. But again, back to my original points, man, it's about protecting the franchise. And right now, Justin Fields is the franchise. I think you got to go offensive lineman, man. And I'm a defensive guy. I'm defense through and through. And Jalen Carter might be a guy that is like you're looking down the line and it's like, damn, should we have grabbed him? But I don't know. I think you just got to protect the investment, and that's the best play. And you got to address everything with Justin Fields first before you start worrying about at the top of your draft doing that type of stuff for the defense, because you can get good defensive linemen throughout the draft. You can get that's not a position to where you really gotta jump in the draft.
You really think you get good defensive end talent later on?
But I think like everyone's expecting.
I think it'd be harder to get interior linemen later on, but in talent, yeah. I mean, you can get guys all across the board that can rush the passer.
Yeah,
I just think everyone's expecting Jalen Carter to be that beast.
I still think the Bears' biggest problem last year was getting off the field in 3rd and long. Just
gotta get some pass rushes. Definitely gotta get some edge rushes. But you can go
because I mean, let me ask you this, because we had somebody on. I have a total brain fart. This was a few months ago when we were talking about the offensive line, and I want your opinion on this. For first and foremost, did you think our offensive line was that bad?
I mean, towards the end of the year, no. I think that they started identifying and gelling, and that's the goal of any unit.
And that's where I was going to go with my next one. We did have, other than our freaking center, which I think everybody in Chicago is just glad to see him gone. Mm-hmm. We had the youngest offensive line in the NFL, and it wasn't even close.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you possibly saying to bring in more of those young people to probably break apart that? Because they did get better throughout the year, and they are extremely young. You would hope after a full off season of them working together, and as finally another year where we have the same offensive scheme too. Mm-hmm. We have a same coaching staff coming back. It's not like completely starting all over again.
Hold on, before you answer that, what you mean they're extremely young? You had 3 veterans starting at one point. You had Patrick Whitehair and Reef.
Well, I mean, Reef played like 3 games. Can we really count him? And he only came in and played because everyone was hurt.
Patrick didn't play a ton either.
Frank is saying, because before the
other
draft,
than Whitehair,
before the draft even started, I was sitting up there saying that for the longest. Like, the Bears are really young on that offensive line. You got Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, you got Leatherwood out there, you got Bourne out there.
Bourne was the starter before Reef.
Even he's gone. Mustapher was still considered
his third
a
year,
young guy, right? That was only his 3rd year. So you talking about bringing in another guy, that's relatively young, that's going to have to go through his bumps and bruises of being in the NFL. That's why I was on the offseason more key of the Bears bringing in veteran offensive linemen that been through the fire, where therefore there's more trust and they know exactly how to play the position, opposed to sitting up there bringing in a bunch of new guys and young guys, even though it may work off in the long run. But shit, your quarterback might not be there because the motherfucker may be dead some damn well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you can go both ways with it, but I think that the idea behind bringing in an offensive lineman with that first pick isn't to break anything up, and you definitely don't break up the continuity. It's just looking at the fact that, hey, if you're going to have a successful offensive line, somebody's going to drop throughout the course of the year. It's just going to happen. It's the game of football in the trenches to get rough. So you need 3 tackles. You need 3 tackles off rip. You need your 2 starters, and you need a swing tackle that can play both sides. So who's to say that, one of those guys don't drop to the swing and, Skronsky plays one side, or Paris Johnson, whoever ends up being the pick, plays one side or the other, you say set it up like that. And that doesn't really affect the continuity. Nobody feels slighted. Nobody feels like they're pushed to the side, and that young core will grow and be able to go forward as now the cohort in the unit. And that's what you do when you go forward with it. I don't think that you look past it just because you had young guys at the position. If the talent is there and you feel like, that's a priority, protecting the quarterback, you got to go with it. You got to go with the O-lineman, I think.
Well, now 2 of those positions are already solidified by veterans.
Yeah.
So, no, I was saying two of them positions are already solidified by veterans now.
Even better.
They better not miss. Whatever offensive lineman they
take, man.
They better not miss on that.
This is a big pick right here, man. It is a big pick. And I'm at that point where I'm like, I agree offensive lineman, but I would like best available offensive lineman or best available defensive lineman. I wouldn't be mad against either or.
I don't think you can. Being in the trenches, that's where the game is won and lost. So
and it's just
positions aren't so bad right now, honestly.
Did you all read the article about Justin's alumni brother, Devin Witherspoon, coming up? Did you all read that article?
As much as I would love,
I don't think there's a chance in hell.
It's just not a position that we desperately need.
Yeah, it's not a position of need. I saw something today where they were talking about the
I think he will be gone before 9, in my opinion. And if I had a pick, honestly, and I'd hate to say it, Detroit just got rid of their pretty solid veteran cornerback, and that he might be going to Detroit now.
Well, remember,
I think if Detroit gonna pick somebody, it's gonna be the guy from Oregon.
Yeah, it's 3 top DBs, and they said that the article stated from a pretty reliable source, actually, stated that because of the uncertainty with Jalen Johnson's contract coming up next year and the uncertainty about Kyler Gordon, don't be surprised if Devin Witherspoon is very high on the Bears draft board.
He may be high, but he's not going to be selected. I guarantee you that.
I've been
saying, put money on that shit. I'll put $100 on right now. He will not be selected by the Chicago Bears.
I've been saying
not at number 9.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Jalen Johnson traded soon.
You said what, Easy?
I'm just saying I wouldn't advocate for it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Jalen Johnson traded soon.
Well, it's this year or nothing because he doesn't have
this year, like soon.
So
like soon. Because I don't know how he fits into the future plans. He wasn't a polls guy, and
I think they're going to
really good corner. What'd you say? Come out. What'd you say?
He froze.
You frozen?
Okay, he unfrozen.
Yeah,
I see your eyebrows moving. Are you freezing again?
Yeah, you froze again. Yeah. Refresh.
Must be that Aldi's network that we always talk about, or is it the Sam's Club network? What do we always talk about?
Aldi's. Oh, I like Aldi's.
I love Aldi's. There's nothing wrong with Aldi's.
But seriously, guys, because here's the thing. We don't know what Ryan Poles is really looking for. Offensive line is what we want. Yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what he values at that pick.
And then, he's very good at not understanding what people want. And he's doing it so far. So
yeah, that's fine by me. I mean, as long as he's doing, like there's a difference between doing moves that very much appease the fans and doing moves that are actually good moves. And I think that Poles has done the latter a good bit.
Well, Justin, you can speak to that just by being in a situation like you said. You were brought in where you knew guys were right there, but you still were able to get the job. That doesn't mean that they valued those other guys any less. They just valued you at that time more, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So definitely. I just feel that I would expect the unexpected so that I'm not let down. Obviously, we want them to do the so-called right thing and not go for the smartest guy in the room routine like we've been known to do throughout the years. Like
the clearly injured player, the one who always has injury
injuries, like we always draft that guy.
He has potential to be great.
The Will Shields guy. We don't draft him.
He's hurt, but he has potential to be great. I don't want to hear the potential shit with the number 9th pick overall. Take the best available.
Jalen
Carter is a very potentially going to be a great player.
He's the exception, I feel like, because
he could be potentially be hitting up McDonald's every single night and gain 15, 20 pounds before.
He could be potentially drag racing on Lakeshore Drive, and we don't need that. They already.
We could potentially be over there eating fucking Giordano's pizza every goddamn night.
Same idea as the McDonald's line, but we'll take it. He also could be Warren Sapp, though.
Justin, we're a little rough on here because we're so passionate about our love for the Bears and everything.
I feel it.
We know we've got a couple of people that we've had personal relationships that have been in that situation in the room. Yeah. And these are conversations that come on when they're in the interview process. Like, hey, can we trust you not to get in fast cars? Yeah. Famously, I don't know how well you all know this, but famously, we drafted Jay Williams. They knew he had an affinity for motorcycles. It's like, hey, in your contract, you cannot ride motorcycles.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Like that. These are things that like we laugh and jest about, but it's serious business. It really is.
I mean, they literally have a quarterback out there who is supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks who has a clause in there that says he needs to watch this amount of film a day because they know when he's supposed to be studying film, he's too busy playing Call of Duty.
He playing Call of Duty, yeah. That's facts. Unfortunately, you do got to vet these players, man.
And that's what I'm saying.
A lot of money at a young age.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like Justin, like you can tell us just the intricacies because you've been there. Like when you go in those contract negotiations, especially when you're coming in off of being drafted or off of undrafted free agency, it's like that to me is the ultimate test because they already know what you can do on the field. Mm-hmm. They've seen it, like you said, the tape. But now when you go through character, yeah, you might have some people whose talent might overshadow character in the long run. Mm-hmm. Warren Sapp famously told us but because of some BS that really didn't have nothing to do with him, he dropped in the draft. And then a coach told him, hey, man, we concerned about your bench press. He was like, man, ain't no bench press on that 50-yard line. But the man got almost 100 sacks in his career. Like, Hall of Fame, like, you never know. But at the same time, that character when you build a new franchise, when your GM is still fresh, when your whole coaching staff is still new, your quarterback is young and fresh.
You're bringing the wrong person, man.
Got to keep that culture in that locker room. That locker room is so important.
So important, man. It's pivotal. It's something that definitely Poles is going to have to keep at the forefront. He's going to have to vet whoever is going to end up being the pick. Because to all the points that you hit, man, being able to have a successful locker room can carry you past, not being the most talented roster and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. When guys want to play for each other, man, and it's about vetting the players and making sure you got good guys in that locker room.
Yeah, we have another nice question that came in. Jeremy did join late, and I could vouch and say we did not ask this question, Jeremy. Did you guys ask what is the weirdest question Justin ever answered during his draft process from a team?
Good
Ooh,
question.
That is a great question.
Great question, Jeremy.
Awesome question.
Yeah, well, luckily I didn't get the grilling of the draft process and being asked if my mother was a prostitute and all that disrespectful nonsense that they like to come up with in order to press your buttons and really see if you know how temperamental you are. So luckily that wasn't really a part of my process. Mine was more so you got at pro day when teams were interested in you, they gave that like IQ packet thing, like just for like a baseline assessments essentially, and it was just to gain information on you, honestly. So since I did not have the draft and the whole combine experience at that part, and I went undrafted free agent and I just went through, you know, pro days and all that stuff, I didn't get that grilling. It was just like, you know, football specific until I got into the organization. Then it was like, okay, now we got to vet you a little bit more. And yeah, that process is a little bit different on my end.
Oh, so you didn't have to take the Wonderlic?
Yeah, no, you don't do that stuff unless you're at the combine.
Gotcha.
So only combine invited talent, the prospects, combine invited prospects go through that Wonderlic and go through all that. Individual teams have their own like localized kind of similar things that they gain, like their little databases they gain information on you with. But that Wonderlic and all that stuff and going through the ringer of having to go and get interviewed by the different organizations and all that stuff, that's the combine, man. So that's why guys, you know, obviously you're talking about it, and that's something where you want to get because that's where the top talent is assessed. And if you're in that invited class, then obviously you're going to fall somewhere high in the draft. But most guys say that, hey, this is actually a bad thing more so than a good thing because you're getting knocked down. Nobody like really ascends throughout the combine process. Everybody is, you know, getting grilled, getting asked all these questions. They're trying to get, you know, testing numbers on you when you barely had sleep and all this type of stuff. So yeah,
it's almost an unfair process.
It is. Hey man, people have their different opinions. That has been now a new conversation that's been coming up. Do we omit the combine altogether and just leave it to pro days and leave it to that point? Because hey, we're not by the same constraints that we had in previous generations to where, okay, well, guys have to have one localized combine essentially because how else are the organizations going to get their eyes on the individual talent? At this point, if you go to any Big Ten school, then all 32 organizations going to see you. If you go to any SEC school, all 32 organizations going to see you. And not even on top of that, for example, to our pro day, Eastern Illinois was at our pro day. Northwestern had some guys come down to our pro day. Illinois State had guys come over to our pro day. The other regional schools also benefit off of the Power 5 institutions that are there. There's really a debate that I think that, you know, I'm on the side of you got to look at, is the combine even, what purpose does it hold today outside of knocking down talent and knocking down guys draft grade?
Money.
It's definitely a money thing. It's definitely something that, again, we need that pomp and circumstance in the off season so that we can kind of get our football fixed. But outside of that, I mean, hey, you still got pro days for it, and that's more localized. That's more fan driven because people have their affiliations to different institutions. So I don't know. I think we want to keep seeing conversations steamroll around getting rid of the combine.
I like that because that's something, you know, kind of eye opening. And you know, us Joe Schmoes, we just look at it because we're football fanatics. We want to see as much football as possible. Like we know it doesn't always translate, you know, but hell, I like seeing somebody run a 4.25 40, you know, and a guy putting up 35 on the bench. Like I don't know. I like it.
Right.
You know?
But then you get guys tearing their hamstrings because they got a 360-pound man running a 40-yard dash. When you gonna do that?
Knowing that in the game, he's not gonna do it.
When is he gonna do that? You know what I'm saying? That the 40-yard dash was supposed to be assessment for special teams for kickoff coverage. And then it's expanded and gone to every position because we want to get that assessment to see your top end speed. But do I really need my tackle to be a 4.5? No, I need to move people off the ball.
Because I know that's we had Alex Brown on here not that long ago who was saying like that stuff is the only thing they care about in that type stuff is that they come, show up, and they're healthy. Yep. That's all that matters. But what's to stop people from getting hurt at something like that? And then all of a sudden your drafting drops.
We had a couple people. The one line we like from USC,
dude. I mean, and I mean, you show the heart that you have for him to still come back. And what did he put up? Like 31 on bench press with a torn ACL. I mean, that's ridiculous, man. And I will still say it to this day. If that guy is available beyond the 6th round, I damn well would be taking him and try to heal that knee because he shows how much he loves the game by doing something like that.
Yeah. I mean, but when you come to sit up there and think about it, the more we start eliminating shit, the less and less likely that, teams are going to be able to see what it is that you do. If you get rid of the combine and all you do is the pro day, then sooner or later they're going to sit up there and say, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's just get rid of the pro day. Let's just go off of film of what these guys were doing in college. So we can't sit up there and keep trying to take things away in a way, because prime example, look at the NBA, right? Back in the day when the NBA players were sitting up there going to their combine or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? They had the players playing against each other. It'd be 5-on-5. The top prospects going against the top prospects on 5-on-5. So then all of a sudden they said, oh man, fuck that. Let's get rid of that. Let's not sit up there and have the top prospects sit up there and do that, because they're being exposed at what they're good at and what they ain't good at. So, okay, let's just start working with individuals. Now you got it to where in the NBA, shit, these guys ain't even the top prospects, ain't even coming to work out. So now you put the organizations in an advantage, because they have to sit up there and try to evaluate these guys to see which one would be the best guy to sit up there to pick for their organization. But then how are they going to be able to sit up there and do that if they can't see these? Everybody wants to keep sitting up there and say, oh, let's get rid of that because of that. Okay, we got to do something.
There's a balance to that, right? Because so many people don't produce it show at the combine because they want to do it at the pro day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they won't run, they won't throw.
They won't do anything besides the skill portions and things of that nature. And really, it's two different beasts. When definitely to your point with the NBA, I actually was reading an article earlier. I think they're going to start requiring top talent again as early as next year to participate
it's part of the
NBA draft, in the combine at Wintrust. They're going to require them, otherwise they can't get drafted. They'll have to sit out until they go through a combine before they can get drafted. But it's the nature of the beast of that sport versus football. Really, it's like, because a guy can look great, he can test out the water, but if it don't translate on the field, which you can't assess unless you get 11 guys, 11 on 11 with helmets and shoulder pads, because even a 7-on-7 situation is a lot different than actual football. So I think you have to get more cerebral with the testing process and kind of some of the things that we were talking about and fleshing out. Okay, let's use this combine process as our vetting, as our, again, mental assessments of the players to see, these aspects, and then utilize the film aspect, use the things they've done in college to get the football side of it. But extra testing and all that stuff that don't translate directly to the game of football is just putting the product of the game at a disadvantage, because now more guys will continue to get hurt trying to go through this testing process, trying to prove themselves in Indianapolis, then turning around and going to their local pro days and doing that. It's just going to end up, when you got to think, especially if you coming out of, you got SEC schools and O State and Michigan that are going to the playoff every year. They're talking about extending the playoff now. So now you're going to be playing later into the year. You got to turn around and do the craziest testing you ever did as an athlete, getting ready for a bench press and working out for that in ways that you never have in terms of muscle endurance, and trying to get repetitions versus, single rep max and things of that nature, trying to learn how to run a 40-yard dash, which is a learning process, learning how to run your first 10 yards, your 20 yards, and finishing on and things like that, when you really only have to do it for that block of time. You got to do it. Then after that, nobody cares about your 40 after that. Now it's about, can you play ball?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm that type of person. Oh, go ahead, Fowler. You got to go.
Nah, I mean, I you saying on that. Huh? What'd you say?
Hey, you keep freezing, Fowler. Dang.
Man, I don't know. Man, it's the damn kid, man. They probably on the damn Wi-Fi shit, playing video games and looking up all types of shit. I don't know what the fuck going on. Shit.
But no, I was saying, like, yeah. I was still saying, like, I'm the type of person where I can give two shits about how fast a guy can run in a 40-yard dash, because how you said it perfectly, like, you need shoulder pads, you need a helmet on, and you need a 300-pound guy looking at you face to face trying to stop you. That's what I care about. And, like, I mean, for instance, we can go back on our draft pick that we had last year, somebody who ran, what, a 4.3? Like, I mean, I'm David Jones. I mean, good old Velus Jones, who can't run a route, can't catch a ball. He runs a 4.3 though, but I don't give a shit.
He did a little better later in the season.
Run a 4.3 on a perfect route.
Right.
I'd love that.
Yeah, that was like the old debate. That just reminded me when Usain Bolt was at the top, and they were like, "Could Usain Bolt come out and play receiver?"
Remember that?
Like, good Lord, no. Good
Hell
Lord,
no.
no. It's not even the same type of running style. It's not like
it's
the
not
starting and stopping, the ins and out, the cuts and all that. You're not training for that on the track. You're not training for that in a 40-yard dash. To your point, running a 4.3. Like, I need to see, can you catch the ball? Can you get in and out your breaks? How can you read the defenses and things of that nature? And that don't come until we can get helmets on and you got somebody trying to take your block off.
And he would have been the ideal choice because, you know, you've had some people that did both. They played football and ran track. Famously, I know people, James Jett, I think John Ross, you know, cats like that actually, Tyreek Hill, right? Tyreek Hill ran track.
Tyreek Hill was one, yeah.
Willie Galt.
Hell, DK, didn't DK just try to run?
DK,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and you saw, but there you go again, the starting and the stopping, as opposed to just I'm giving it all I got.
It's completely different.
It's completely different, you know. But I just think that a lot of that stuff now, like famously Jerry Rice, 4.740, but I always
every receiving record, like
You know, think about it. How often have you seen Jerry Rice get caught from behind? Not much.
Never.
You know, and it's one of those crazy things where it's like the game of football isn't just can you run fast?
It's a skill
high. You know, it's a lot more than that. And I just think, like to your point, Justin, can you ball? Can you play football? And when you look at certain positions and certain teams that have sustained success, they get football players. Yes, we love the flash. Yes, we want the name and lights and all that stuff. But I just feel that it's about making the right pick for your team at the moment. And right now we have a couple of holes that did get filled. Kudos to Poles, because I love what they did to our linebacking core. Like straight up, love TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, love what they did to that linebacking core, right? But I mean, we need a little more. And we can really, really do some damage by hitting the right pick in this draft. O-line, D-line, you can't go wrong. In my opinion.
No, 100%. That's why I say best available at any one of those two positions. I'm fine with.
Gotta do it.
Hey, I just want to tell you guys, I'm about to hop off. I got to be at work super early tomorrow. It was a pleasure once again, Justin. Pleasure meeting you, brother. Talking to you.
Yes, sir. Pleasure's all mine, brother.
Me and Grogu.
This is the way.
Me and my boy here.
I don't know who I'm gonna miss more, Grogu or Foul. Grogu is a big part of this damn show now, man. See, he agrees with me.
I'm trying to tell you. He agrees.
He just told us we better tune in tomorrow.
I'm gonna holler at y'all brothers later, man.
All right, man. Take care, Foul.
And on another note, I do apologize about the leggings thing. I had got a real nasty text from my fiance saying she gave me that 5 heartbeats to I think you overstepping your boundaries. So I gotta go sleep on the couch tonight, man. So
all right, warm up that couch, man.
Ladies, fellas, I love seeing you. Me, I don't like seeing you in the leggings, okay?
Too late.
I'm out.
All right, take care. And I mean, Justin, we don't want to keep you if you if you want to head out too, because we're probably going to flip over to a little bit of Bulls talk now too.
I appreciate you having me there, man.
Yeah, no, it was great having you on, man. We'll definitely have to get you on again, and we'll definitely have to try to get together with you, because that's one thing that we're trying to do since you're in Chicago now, all the people that are in Chicago.
Yes, most definitely. And again, back to the beginning part of our conversation, being the new president of the NFLPA Chicago chapter, I'm trying to be out and active as much as possible in the community in Chicago and in the Chicagoland area. So please let us know how we can get out, support everything y'all have going on, and let's keep this open line of communication, man. Let's keep doing it.
Absolutely. We will be in touch sooner than you think because we might be trying to do something for the draft, actually.
Hey, that sounds great. That sounds great, man. Looking forward to it.
Be in touch with you soon, brother.
All right, man. Take
care.
care.
Appreciate y'all again.
Later.
Great guy.
Before we segue, I love the fact that when we have those guest guys that are just fully transparent and open with us down to earth, that's what this is all about. That man told us facts that we did not even know. I love that when we have those type of guests. The NFLPA is so important, y'all. Like it is so
absolutely
what is going on. I know famously Mike Ditka had championed the retired players, for the insurance and stuff like that. Just to know that our gridiron greats are still out here struggling. They didn't have the $30 million contracts.
Buddy Ryan too, by the way. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Buddy Ryan passed, and literally, like, the insurance was damn near more than what their salary was at this point,
Mm-hmm.
And look at what they've given to us, not just as far as entertainment wise, community and everything. And the NFL is just now, because of the people like Justin, just now trying to take the right stance on protecting our retired players. That's huge, man.
Absolutely.
And just to kind of touch on that real quick, just to give the audience some kind of perspective on what JB's talking about. It's like and this is also kind of synthesizing my thesis from December, but basically, we talk about the NFL like you're like, oh well, why do we care about what NFL players have after they retire? I mean, like they're so rich, they play in the NFL. Like people automatically assume that just because someone makes it to the NFL, it means they made it. But the fact is, like, yeah, you got Patrick Mahomes and Matt Stafford and a bunch of people who make so much money, but at the same time, there's a bunch of people like half of most NFL rosters don't even make like $1 million. Like they barely, make that for a year. And then, once they retire, they have to find careers in so many other things. And, it's that coupled with the fact that many of them do suffer from CTE. It's like, it's really not an easy life for NFL players just because they made it to the NFL. And it's great to hear of Justin's work within the association.
Well, no, dig a little deeper on that, Easy, because you made some great touch points. You have players that, like you said, Patrick Mahomes, $50 million might turn into 32 after taxes and what have you, right?
Sure.
That person that's making 900,000 might only see 5.5.
Right. Depends on if they're playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars or the LA Rams, right?
Tax,
it's all about state tax. But, but in general, that's true.
But that money's also not guaranteed to whereas, there's a certain portion of that money that Patrick Mahomes is going to have.
Yeah.
Right.
You look at that $400,000, hell, that's a house.
Yeah.
That's one house. That's not quite generational wealth. So look at all the extra that they have to do.
And it's also like, obviously it's way more money than I'm making in my field right now. But like I could stay in my field for a very long time. Like I could do this until I'm 60 and, could like save up some money for retirement, whatnot. Whereas in the NFL, yeah, you could find some jobs in endorsements. You could find jobs, maybe, coaching, but the opportunities aren't as available as one would think. It's just like we hear about the ones that are available, right? Like we hear about the guys who are making the most money, and we hear about guys like Mike Vrabel, getting a coaching job, after his NFL playing days. But like in general, most of these players, like they're not going to just be able to immediately become an NFL coach, like, just like a DB's coach or something. Like, no, it's a grind and there's no promise. There's no guarantee of a second career. And that's why, really great when the NFLPA is, making those moves to help players after they retire.
Yeah, I agree. And before we go to commercial and then go to Bulls, I wanted to address something. I know, Easy, he's your boy.
Yeah, I want to shout out Noah Gross. Thanks for tuning in, man.
On bullshit. Stop it. We're not getting Bijan. I'll run through a brick wall if we draft Bijan Robinson with the 9th.
Okay, but wait. What is he trying to really say about?
He's saying we're gonna. He made some good points saying that we should not go defensive backs and we should go offensive line or maybe even. I'm taking that as get spicy with Bijan, meaning he would love to have Bijan. Correct me
on that. But I'm saying Are we a bit pessimistic, or is the organization the one that's putting out the pessimism?
I don't think he means us specifically. I think he means Bears fans in general. So Noah went to Mizzou, and he's surrounded by which is actually like a haven for a lot of Chicago students who are fans. I think that's generally who he's talking about. I don't think he's talking about us because we're kind of, or he might be talking about me because I was a little I said something that could have been construed as negative about Jalen Johnson, but the reality
wasn't negative at all. Easy, that
wasn't negative. That's just saying that he might not be in our future because he's going to get paid.
And
I think Noah's a big
That's
Eddie Jackson guy, and a lot of Bears fans are big Eddie Jackson.
Eddie Jackson,
and that's fine. But when you look, okay, keep it just fully transparent. If you look at somebody that you want to sign long term, you sign them.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I like Jalen Johnson.
Year of his contract, I haven't heard any negotiations. All I've heard is we'll wait and see.
And he's injury prone too, so he's going to want money.
He's
going to want money.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, because
he's a good player, like damn good.
He's a good player, hands down. He's a good player.
He is, but like again, if this was Ryan Pace, I bet
he would have got signed.
Would have been signed already.
Yes, he would have been signed already,
because
he's injury prone.
So that's what I'm saying. So being pessimistic is not coming because we are. It's coming because the brass is showing us they are.
Yeah.
I also think, I am with Noah that I do think that they are going to go line. I don't think they're going to get Bijan. And there's my dog stretching. And I also think
he's taking a crap right now.
I don't think any of us want, and Noah and I have talked about this. I don't know about on air, but definitely off air. Just like no one should be drafting a running back in the first round. Bijan's awesome and he's really fun to watch. And if the Bears did get him, I'd come around to rooting for him. But
well, you're never going to not root for him if the Bears get him. But I mean, it's more the fact that if Bijan goes in the first round, Bijan can go in the first round. He probably will go in the first round, but he's going to go to a team who's a running back away from competing. All right, we're not a running back away from competing. Way more important things than a running back.
For us, absolutely.
Yeah, let's get a commercial going up in here, and then we'll get into a little bit more basketball talk. So let's find this bad boy here. Where are you?
There was a time when high standards prevailed, when excellent craftsmanship was displayed and treated with the utmost importance. Acquire the crisp, refreshing taste of Moore's Beer. Moore's Beer. Raise your standards.
Makes me thirsty.
Makes me hungry.
Definitely.
Raise your standards.
All right. So do we want to get started with full court press, or do you want to put that in the middle first?
You can go ahead and get started because I got some cussing to do.
Cuss that shit out.
I am just compliment DeMar DeRozan's daughter. Shout out to her. I don't know if we've gotten to that yet, but
we haven't. We'll get to that because I mean, there'll be shout out to her, and then there'll also be go fuck yourself to the Toronto Raptors because she received over 47 death threats after that game. That's pathetic.
Well, shout out to kid. Fuck you to 47 people. Not
So I mean, we'll get to that for all Toronto Raptors.
Next time you hear grown folks talking, shut the fuck up here.
Grow up, people. Grow up. Unfreaking believable.
Leave kid.
Hit it.
It's going to be short, it's going to be sweet, but it's going to cut deep.
Cut it.
To hell with Billy Donovan.
Amen.
To hell with AK.
Amen.
And unfortunately, to hell with Mark Eversley. They are doing the exact same BS that we just left from 20 years of Gar Pax or however many years it was. We are in basketball purgatory. They do not know what they're doing as far as drafting. They do not know what they're doing as far as picking up free agents. Hell, we have 17 point guards on the team. We have 5 6'4" power forwards, and we have a star center that really doesn't get the accolades he should because the coach doesn't really care for him. Call it what it is. Then we got one guy who's a star that's kind of mad because he's not the star that the other guy is. What are we really doing?
It sounds like a big locker room issue too.
At this point in time, I don't even know if they like each other. Like, do they even exchange, pleasantries after the game where they'd be like, man, I'm not going nothing with you. What the hell with
I
you?
said they should have traded everyone at the deadline, man. I've been advocating for that, man. Like,
yeah, you wouldn't have been able to trade everyone, though. Zach LaVine wouldn't have been able to get traded with the way he was playing and a max deal.
Fair.
You can't trade away the one cog that I feel is what might bring other talent to the team.
Yes. And he will, no matter what, he will.
You have to keep a Zach LaVine.
But I will say DeMar DeRozan should have been on that list.
But this is
I've always said, and I love DeMar.
Yeah.
This is
not
so
all of them, but some of them.
This is so Chicago Bulls.
Yes.
Just think of the let's not even go to the distant past. Let's go to the recent. Look how bad we were before they even got here. Like the Jim Boylan little era, it was horrible.
It was so embarrassing to watch.
It was hilarious.
Like, and Freddie Hoiberg, loved him as a player, man, but no. Like,
Freddie Hoiberg was a pawn, I believe. He's a puppet.
We have nothing to really hold our hats on except what?
Zach LaVine.
How do we know next year? Because, we're into year 3. How do we know next year? Like, are we going to put Patrick Williams at the 4 again and ruin this kid's career? Are we going to draft another point guard and not address the power forward position and not address the just hell? Can we get a guy that just hits threes, like a knockdown shooter?
Yeah.
How do you get Simonovic, who is the damn G League MVP, and you don't play him?
He is destroying the freaking G League, and we're not even giving him a shot here.
Like,
but are you not going to sign Vooch, and then this guy's going to be your new future center? I mean, that's a pretty tall order for somebody just coming out of the G League.
Not the way that this regime is going on.
No, they don't know how to.
Thou won't agree, but
shot.
I told him back. I said, you all are looking at what was around him in Denver, what he put together. Okay, yeah, he hit the lottery with Jokic, Jamal Murray, and them guys. It was like the perfect storm. The coaching, I think, is Brendan Malone. Like they just blended well. Nothing about this team blends well. Nothing about Billy Donovan stirring the pot blends well. He is what has he done since Florida? We talk about this all the time. He did nothing in OKC. He does not use top 10.
His best was the second round in the playoffs, I believe, was his best in OKC. That was it. And he had some damn good players.
He's not the coach. This team is basically built to be like Memphis. Transition and go. Let's get up and down the court. Let's get up and down the court and play defense.
Memphis.
They don't.
But that's the thing that I don't understand is because why the fuck did you bring in Billy Donovan then? If you want to run the Memphis style offense, I'm fine with that. Don't get me wrong. Billy Donovan doesn't run that offense.
No,
Billy Donovan runs slow isolation small ball basketball. That is not how Arturis put this team together. So who the fuck
wrong,
is that? And Arturis was the one who brought in Billy Donovan, right?
Yes.
Or is that Reinsdorf call?
No. Here's the thing with that. Remember, guys, AK is the president of basketball operations. Mark Eversley is technically the general manager. But you can see the imprint on the Bulls is all Arturis. It's all him. We don't draft worth a damn.
We haven't since what? Since Derrick Rose?
Real quick though, wait. I want to touch on something you said about the Memphis offense. Not just because I'm a Memphis fan, but because I want to just get into these X's and O's just to further my understanding and to further some of the audience's understanding. What is the Memphis offense? Isn't the Memphis offense depending on having someone prolific like a John Morant?
It's
fast paced. I mean, that's like the big thing. It's fast paced.
It's about the pace because what they do is they do play a brand of half court basketball, right? But they do utilize Jaren Jackson either at the 4 or the 5, depending on Steven Adams. Right?
Yes,
but they're get the ball and go. We get the ball, give it to DeMar, and slow it up and let everybody get our pace is terrible.
Yeah, and I hate to still be the guy who brings this up is because Lonzo Ball was their biggest, in my opinion, signing because When he's out there, he moves it. He runs it. They move the floor. Since he went down, all they did was bring in slow-ass fucking point guards. That's all they did.
But Frank, didn't they just do what the Bears always do? They grab somebody that they know is always hurt.
Yeah.
Trying to catch lightning in the bottle. It's the same stuff. And I'm not saying look, I liked Lonzo when he was in Los Angeles. I am not a person to down Lonzo. It is terrible. What's happening to Amari Stoudemire. What happened to Brandon Roy with this degenerative knee? We've seen it in many of basketball players' careers over time. It's something that happens. But if you want to get a winning product, first thing is availability. You have to be able to play.
Jeremy, we're still waiting for you to come on to give us the Billy Donovan talk.
No, I can take Zach for another 4 years, but what is the
DeMar?
Well, look, my thing is like DeMar and Zach. Like, obviously, at the end of the day, like they're still really good players, good scorers. Again, this is coming from not the most X's and O's savvy basketball guy in the world, but like, wouldn't you say they just need one more force in there who could really always be the alpha and just kind of like take over a game?
No, because for one,
they need a true point guard who can speed and move up the court.
Because when it's in their hands, they're both ball dominant. Mm-hmm. Now, Zach was leader in catch and shoot, but when DeMar gets in DeMar mode, Zach gets kind of like, I don't want to say like little brother, but you know what I'm saying, kind of like that syndrome. And it's almost like you want to tell Zach, hey, man, to hell with him, take over. But
yeah, well, that's kind of like, as a Grizzlies fan, that's kind of how I am with Jaren Jackson. Like you said, you know, like I wish he would not let the game come to him and just kind of take over some games because he's just so offensively dominant in the force when he wants to be. So yeah, no, I get that. A little bit different, you know, positions and whatnot. But yeah, that's I relate to what you're saying.
But just like when you have coaching situations, and Jeremy, if you're listening, chime in. I know you're listening. The Bulls were +6 when Kobe White and Andre Drummond were in the game.
I messaged him immediately after this happened.
Like, this was a winnable game. They took them out. Miami was reeling. They took them out. Then they put Vooch, bless you. Then they put Vooch and Pat Bev. Even, you know what, and I'm not even mad at Pat Bev, but even though he got his 4th foul, you needed that tenacity on defense. Keep him in the game.
Yeah.
Set the tone. But you brought in a cold Vooch who was like, man, I ain't got the ball in 3 quarters. Man, give me the ball. And just start jacking up short shots. Like, and then what did Miami do? They Jimmy Butler and Max Stressed us to death. That's exactly what you knew was coming. You knew it was coming. You saw the blueprint as soon as Jimmy slowed down the ball, pick and roll, got the mismatch on Caruso. Bam, free throw game.
Man, it would be cool if the Bulls could ever get a guy like Jimmy Butler.
Hey, wouldn't that be something? Man, if we had a Jimmy Butler type.
Oh, man, imagine. Well, I guess that's all we can do.
Yeah, well.
Thank you.
But, yeah, like this team is going nowhere fast. They need to blow it up. I don't care if you just gave Billy an extension. Fire him. Send him packing. Fire the whole front office.
Yeah.
Get some people in there that know, and I'm not even saying eye for talent, but just know basketball.
Exactly.
Because I look at remember all that talk about how Mike Brown wasn't a good coach because it was LeBron winning and they got rid of Mike Brown because he can't coach LeBron and all this. That was bull. Look at what Mike Brown is doing in Sacramento with a team of people that
I know, man. That team is fun to watch, man.
You know what I'm saying? So imagine if you got a Kenny Atkins over here, an Adrian Griffin. Hell, a Mark Jackson. I know people.
I would have took Mark Jackson.
About the whole religious and go to church and all that. Hey, can you win basketball games?
And
you know,
and I mean, and you're like bringing up like point. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be available, but from what I'm hearing, Toronto Raptors are not really. They don't know their future right now, and they might blow stuff up. But I mean, Van Fleet might be available. Van Fleet, I don't think is going to sign with Toronto this offseason. He might be a good fit because he moves the ball and he can shoot.
He doesn't shoot.
He's a speedy type. As soon as he gets the ball, he takes off. He does not coast or anything. He's not that great of a true point guard type, but he does fit those things of moving the ball and shooting. Something the Bulls don't have right now.
They don't, but I would say you gotta address the interior right now because
I agree with that.
Who's to say Drummond or Vooch are gonna be here next year? Like
Vooch has already said he's going to test free agency. It's just the Bulls can match.
Right, but at the same time, it's like, do you really, really want to match him just to say he's on the team when you're not even going to use him properly?
Yeah, I am not. I would love for them to re-sign Vooch, but I think it's not going to help anywhere as long as Billy Donovan's still your coach.
It's not. You have a Ferrari and you're driving it like a freaking Winnebago. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And it's not just a knock on Donovan, but it's also a knock on AK because of, like, who are your scouts? Like, why at one point in time did we legit have 5 point guards on the roster? Why? Like, what sense does that make?
Yep.
Like, Ayo, Kobe, Pat Bev. We had, what's my man?
Caruso.
Caruso. No, what's the other one? Oh man, left hand. Goran Dragic.
Oh, yeah, Goran.
Right. I was going to say Kirk Heinrich.
And then
gotta love Captain Kirk. We don't mess with Captain Kirk.
And then it was like at one point, Summer League, they had Dalen Terry like running point guard. It's like what are you doing? You know, and we're not going to be able to compete at any given time in the East.
I did not know Van Fleet was a hometown boy.
Rockford.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Damn. Now I definitely want him.
Yep.
Oh, we got the bullet in. Love you, Bullets. What up? Don't bring up that freaking. You know it's coming. Bullets is out. We all know it's coming.
Look, they come on later tonight, right? Or are they on tomorrow?
They're tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow?
No, they weren't on yesterday. They're on tonight. I think they are on tonight.
They were on Sunday.
As much as I would love to see a Lakers-Clippers playoff series.
Ooh, no.
I would love to see that, man. Mm-hmm. Never has happened in the history of the NBA. Lakers.
No, but then the Grizzlies lose, and that's sad. And then
your Grizzlies have a lot more issues.
Oh, Ja is not playing easy.
Yeah, no, I know.
Ja's not playing this next game, and I don't think the Lakers are going to lose.
But it's not his gun hand, so don't worry.
Okay. You didn't say shooting, you said gun hand.
His pimp hand strong.
Oh my God!
No,
I mean, obviously, this isn't Memphis Clubhouse podcast, but I'm definitely very upset about the Ja Morant situation. Although I live in LA, so if the Lakers and Clippers meet up, that would be very cool.
There'd be brawls.
Yeah, but it's tomorrow. I thought it was Wednesday. Yeah, okay. It's tomorrow.
It'll be like gangs of New York and LA with the Lakers.
I think you're overestimating the amount of Clippers fans. It's very much a Lakers city.
I know that.
Well, we know that, but
I know that.
Isn't Ty Lue undefeated against the Lakers since he's coaching?
Yes.
Yeah, so that.
But I mean, it's a difference, and it's a playoff series. But
also, I can't lie, Austin Reeves is very fun to watch.
Austin Reeves is that team right now. Mm-hmm. He's the MVP of that team right now.
He came out of nowhere too.
LeBron James is very lucky that at this point in his career, he's able to play with a guy as good as Austin Reeves.
And I'm not really wanting to attack LeBron James right now, but when he made that interview a few days ago on how he loves Austin Reeves, he hopes he's here for a long time. LeBron James wanted him traded in the offseason. That's how much of a fucking clown that LeBron James is. Now he's vouching for him, how great he is. I love him. He's so great. You wanted to trade him in the offseason. So don't need to hear that crap. But back to Bulls talk here. Let's get back to Bulls talk here.
Well, here's the thing back with the Bulls talk. Can you imagine if we actually grabbed one of those guys like an Austin Reeves type player?
Right? I mean, that you need to know how to recruit and actually when was he drafted?
I thought he was undrafted.
Late. Was he? That would happen.
Or was he second round?
I thought he was a second rounder. Yeah, I thought he was a second round. I'm gonna have to look that up. Unless Easy's staring at a computer, he might be looking that up right now.
But
I'm not.
But we need to get some firepower, guys. Bottom line.
Go hands down on that one.
Do we re-sign Kobe White? Do you keep? It's so much.
I wouldn't be against re-signing Kobe White because I thought he made a very massive increase this year.
He does. Does Lonzo first of all, does Kobe White even want to stay here? Because some can argue should he had been the starter when Lonzo went out. Some argue that. But Io had started a lot of games. It's just this round peg, square hole mentality that I don't like the Bulls, what they do right now. And potentially
he was undrafted. You are right on that one, man.
Mm-hmm.
Reeves was undrafted in the 2021 draft, signed a two-way deal with the Lakers.
That's par for the course because, like I said, I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know what their scouting department has as far as the criteria they look for. The eye test shows total crap.
Oh, yeah.
And just the Billy Donovan is just not a coach for the Bulls. It's okay to cut your loss. He's been here, 3 years now?
3, yeah. And he hasn't accomplished a damn thing, and we gave him an extension.
Like, what type of buddy ball bull is this? Like, get this dude out of here, man. Like, kick rocks, buddy. Like, I'd rather see it. I'm not trying to be funny because of the indiscretions, but hell, call Ime Udoka. He want a chance to prove himself again. Bring him in here.
He was a good coach until all that happened.
Yeah, you know what? He took the Celtics to the finals.
Yep.
I'll take him. Shit.
It's about getting the right guy right now, giving people second chances. And I'm all for second chances.
I'll coach the Bulls. Fuck it.
I think, honestly, either one of us three can do a better freaking job coaching this team. Because I will be the first to say, are the Bulls an NBA contender? No, that's not possible. But do they have talent on their team? Do they have talent on that team? Absolutely, they do.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Can you build a system around what they have? Absolutely that they do. But when you have a coach who no matter what sticks to the exact same system, the exact same game plan, the exact same rotation, no matter what, is just pathetic. Like, I mean, you said it perfectly. Kobe White, they didn't score one basket after Kobe White left the game. Not one basket. And Kobe White had the last 12 points. And you pull him out for defensive purposes when it was a tie game. I know we were up by 3. We were up by 3 when Kobe White left the game, I believe. And Kobe White's, that's another thing that he's improved his game on this offseason. He's a pretty damn good defender this year.
Yeah, he's
not great, but he did a very good job.
Absolutely.
Is Patrick Beverley a better defender? Yes. But would I rather have defensive purposes in the game with a 3-point lead with 6 minutes left in the game? Fuck no. You keep the offensive going, and then you put defensive purposes when you have double digits and 2 minutes left in the game.
Keep your foot on their neck.
Yes.
Keep going. Like Andre Drummond, like
NBA, isn't it?
He legit played 8 minutes and had 4 offensive rebounds. They got some second chance points. Like you know, it's an idiot. It's an idiot.
Jeremy does got a point here with it was Brad Stevens' team. He built that team. It was kind of like Steve Kerr walking into a great team as well. He's got a point there.
I'll give him a point on that, but unlike Mark Jackson, that team the very next year went to the finals.
Yeah.
Brad Stevens' team went to the finals first. Went to the conference finals first and never got over the hump after that. Then Udoka comes in and gets him over the hump. So almost the same, but a little bit different.
Yeah. And we're talking Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr inherited a gold mine with all those prime players and everything like that.
But again, you know what we don't do? We don't draft those type of players.
No, we don't.
We draft Dalen Terry.
The guy who is a great dancer. He really knows how to be a cheerleader on that bench.
We draft Dalen Terry.
And I like what Patrick Williams did this year
Wendell Carter Jr.
And I'm going to say it you drafted Larry Markkinen. You gave up on Larry Markkinen. Look what he's fucking doing right now.
7-foot unicorn who wasn't that bad. He just needed more confidence.
He did. He did. And he just that was the thing. When we had Larry Markkinen here, all we did was sit him behind the 3-point line and tell him to shoot the ball. Just stuck him to one job and do that job. And this is what I said about Patrick Williams too. But when Larry went to Utah, it's like, dude, you're on a shit team now. We have nothing going on here. This is your ball. You post up, you hit jump shots, you move, you hit 3-pointers, you do what you have to do, and look what he's doing.
Remember,
and it's the same as what I said with Patrick Williams, too.
Remember they said he couldn't play the 3? As soon as he went to Cleveland, he was playing the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just have a terrible organization, fellas.
I agree.
And quick little fun fact. I think Lauri Markkanen won't be playing football.
Thanks for that percentage, Jeremy. It sounds like the Blackhawks.
What about football?
No, I said Lauri Markkanen. I didn't mean to say football. He won't be playing basketball next year because I think he owes some time to the Danish or Finnish military.
Yeah. He has to finish his military service.
Yeah. So he will be going. That's next year, right?
Yes,
yes,
that is next year. That is next year. He's going to shave that head.
So unfortunately,
Larry was only a bull because we traded Jimmy Butler. No, we drafted Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, we drafted.
Yeah, we drafted Larry.
We drafted Jimmy. Hell.
Yeah, we drafted Jimmy Butler.
We let them both go, and they became better. What does that tell you?
Jimmy Butler had that where he was very good here, and he was just one step away from being a superstar. The question is, would he have been a superstar here? Who the hell knows? Because we don't know how to fucking get. We don't know how to give the best players their dues here. Like,
we saw it coming, and we should have been able to build around. Like, again, I tell you all this 3 years ago. Before we drafted Patrick Williams, we were in need of a point guard, and there was a guy by the name of Tyrese Halliburton available. We should have gotten Tyrese Halliburton. We wouldn't be in this problem. We wouldn't be in this purgatory right now. But again, the Bulls, similar to what the Bears have done in the past, they never do the obvious thing. They always do the smartest guy in the room thing. It blows up in their face. Like,
always. I
feel like the Bulls are the Wile E. Coyote of basketball. And then they get their little Acme kit, and then it blows up on them. That's what we do. That's what we do. And it's not going to change until you really get like a real basketball guy in charge. I
agree.
Paxson was a basketball guy. Paxson was trying to prove a point. You know, he should have known
that he was the dumbest man in the room.
No, he was trying to prove a point that, hell, he was just as good of a GM as anybody else. And that player, the way that he played, the way that he tried to build the team like he played, I get it. But no, that's not what we needed. We needed some real solid guys in there. Like, think about it, guys. The days of Derrick Rose, Taj Gibson, Luau Deng.
I got the whole bobblehead set up of him right here.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't that long ago. Kyle Korver. Hey, no, Ronnie Brewer. Like, that wasn't.
I'd love to have a Kyle Korver type player again.
That wasn't that long ago. But you look at that imprint and what that team accomplished, but you don't try to mirror that. You go and do some old crazy stuff, and we're just in hell right now, in purgatory. Like, what is the point?
Yeah, to me, this is why, like I think the Bulls might need to suck for a little while, at least 2 years, to get back on track. It sucks, it's not going to be fun, but NBA purgatory is kind of a shitty place to be.
But don't agree. But don't we kind of owe that to the management? Easy, like, don't you kind of got to put that on them? I don't want to suck and then give them another chance to draft even more people to mess our franchise up. Right.
No, I want to suck.
Just a heads up really quick. Jeremy was right. Lauri Markkanen's trade rights were given to us, so we did not draft him. His trade rights were drafted by the Timberwolves, and that trade came to us.
That's actually not a terrible trade.
2017, he was drafted round 1, pick 7 by the Minnesota Timberwolves and traded to the Jimmy Butler
draft rights in the
so
trade?
We got his draft rights in the trade. So Minnesota drafted him, and we got his draft rights. So I don't know if we told Minnesota to draft him.
I think
that probably is what happened.
That had to be.
But yes,
he was a situation where they were like, "All right, you're just going to take whoever we draft."
Terrible. Tragic what happened to him. Remember, he fell face planted
right on his face. That was nasty. He was never the same person after that.
Remember, his teeth were stuck in the court.
Yep. He had to get it. Yep.
terrible what happened to him. But
that's a nightmare.
Still don't understand how that happened either, because he wasn't even touched or anything. I think he just got scared that he was getting hit, and then his hands just went out, and that was nasty. He played in the playoffs though, didn't he?
I think he came back, but
he played a little bit, and he was doing pretty solid. Got some nice turnovers and everything.
I think he came from Providence. Was kind of decent in the tournament that year, but just nothing special for us. A try-hard kid, a Chris Duhon type. Hey, we loved him because he was here, try-hard guy. Was he the answer to anything? No. Just somebody passing through. And it's not.
What the Bulls do. We either kill futures or we just get people who have no more futures.
To be honest with you, if I'm Patrick Williams, I'm telling the Bulls right now, hey, I really don't want to be here.
Speaking of killing futures, I need to kill my future on this episode because I have to push off, take my dog out, and do whatnot. I want to quickly promote my show though. Easy Does It, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Central on Chicago Clubhouse Network. The one thing I will say is, assuming we're able to, figure out how I could get logged in, there will be an episode this week. We're going to talk a lot of football draft, probably going to talk a lot of baseball too. And definitely tune in. And it's been fun, as always, chopping it up with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get you some shout-outs real quick, Easy, because we're about to wrap this one up.
We'll wrap this up, and we'll just get the shout-outs now. So there was your shout-out? All right, you get out of here then. You have a good one.
Oh, shout out to DeMar DeRozan's daughter for helping us win that one game by yelling at the
That was great. The MVP of the playoffs.
Absolutely. Nice really, really, really crazy that actually worked. And shout out to you guys, fun show and whatnot. And shout out to the Cubs. Hot start this season. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's the Cubbies here, maybe.
Not the Sox, that's for sure.
Deuces, fams.
Yeah, that was awesome. The DR DeRozan one. That really was. That was the lowest free throw percentage in playoff history. If we're even counting that as a playoff, because I don't know if I count the play-in as a playoff.
I mean, they don't even count the stats, right?
No, I don't think they do. So why so I don't understand why you can count that if you don't count the stats. That makes no sense.
That's like that's like you made the tournament in the play-in, but did you really make the tournament? Did you make
exactly? It's like isn't that what the Tar Heels did in college this year? They didn't make the NCAA tournament for the first time in 30 years, but they made the NIT tournament. They're like, I'm not going to the fucking.
Yeah, no, they said they wasn't going to the.
I'm not going to that stuff. I'm not getting the how we always say the participation award.
But remember, that what's crazy about that is they were just in the championship game last year.
Yeah.
So that's even a little bit more salty. But just to get into some shout-outs real quick, love what we did today, man. Shout out to Justin Staples, man. I love when we have people that come on and they let their hair down, talk to us real, really dig in and give us that insight, because a lot of times we are fed and led to believe what goes on in certain sports from the media perspective. And they're only giving us one spin from their POV. I love it when the players give us that locker room talk, give us that business talk, and just really, really let us know what is going on. Because if you have never been there, then you'll really never know. And a lot of these guys, they got a lot to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
Unfortunately, I don't know if it's contractual or nothing, but some of them don't get to really talk until well after their career is over. And I'm appreciative that they are willing to come on this platform and share that information with us. So shout out to Justin. I hope we are able to link with him
for sure.
in the next few days. Get on with this draft special that we're putting together for you guys. I'm really excited. The Bears are just that is our cowbell this year, guys. We have to have something to hold our heads on. And it's looking like it's going to be the Bears. The Bulls have failed us. The Blackhawks have failed us. It looks like the White Sox have failed us so far. I don't know about the Cubs. I'm not a Cubs fan, but according to Easy, they're rocking and rolling right now.
They are playing some fun baseball, but it's early on in the season. They are.
It's all we have to look forward to right now is what I hear about the Chicago Wolves and the Rockford Ice Hogs, and I don't know nothing about hockey, so I always defer to you for that, Frank. But it ain't the Blackhawks, so
they're both playoff hockey, but it ain't the Blackhawks, that's for sure, because they fucked up.
Right
when they got 5 points in their last 7 games, which knocked them out of the last place. So you guys suck because.
But even when you're supposed to lose, you messed that up.
Yes. And then the worst thing about it was they sent all their best young players back down to Rockford because they wanted to make sure that they're eligible for the AHL playoffs. So that's why they sent them down, and obviously to assure that we're going to lose, and then they fucking start winning. It's like,
well, you know what?
So now the Blackhawks are only rolling with a 13% chance to land the number 1 overall pick, which is an absolute stud.
Par for Chicago sports. But let's dig into that chat. Got some names, some new people out there, some old names. Ant Stewart, thanks for checking in. Always got some, some great insight. Jesse Cottrell was there. Trey 5 jumped back in. Always showing up. Hey, shout out to Jeremy, he joined late, but he was always love talking to Jeremy. Shout out to Barb Gill. I want to say I know that name. I want to think that's one of my mom's friends from work back in the day. I remember her. Shout out to Juanita.
What about this one? Is this a new name?
Yes. So that is.
Hey, that's what I thought. Happy to have you.
Brand new. Thank you, Mr. Omar, for checking in. We also had another one. Aaron Kowalski had checked in. Said that you guys are the Chi Sports champs. Love that. Noah Gross, thanks for checking in. Obviously, Bullets, my brother from another, checking in. Laker love, I know that's what we're spewing right now, man, but hell, death to LeBron on the court right now. Not in real life, just on the court.
If there was a way that the Lakers can win and LeBron lose, I'd be all for it. But
I'd be all for it. But no, shout out to my man Bullets, always a pleasure. And then shout out to my mom. If we only have one person on viewing, I know it's her. Shout out to you. Love you, Mom. That's all I got, Frank.
All right. Ditto to all those chats. You pretty much laid them all out. And to our guests, like how you were saying, like getting the insight on all those things, like understanding what he had to go through. And unfortunately, he didn't get drafted, but still to go through that type stuff and just to hear what they ask and everything, it's like going back to school, finishing off college and still going back to school to try to see if they're going to figure out a way to mess you up. And right. I mean, as much as I agree with all of his things, I don't know if I'm on board with the Soronsky one. I don't know. I mean, he made some very good points though, saying it was like, I don't care about his short arms. The guy's still a dog. And there's no doubt
he is all his life.
Yeah, I mean, we could all be wrong, and he could be the best tackle coming out of that draft, and it would just be Bears right there that we could have got him and we didn't. But I mean, other than that, like always give a shout out to JB's mom as well. Always on start to finish. Always love that shout out to our to all of our God freaking I have a brain fart, dude. I'm looking right at him. Sponsors, thank you. I couldn't figure out the word. Huey in the Zone, Moore's Under Armour. Shout out to all of them, and please make sure to like and subscribe on the Chicago Clubhouse podcast. We are working on trying to get a live draft party going on for when the Bears pick at 9. But knowing our luck, we're going to go live, and then they're going to trade back. And then we're going to just – the 24. It's like it would not surprise me, especially after what we saw last year, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. But we're going to try to get a guest on here, try to get somebody who really knows football to come on here and talk draft with us and everything as well. So other than that, you got anything else?
That's it. And I just literally enjoy this time with you, my brother. And I can't wait to see you again. Last time we had an absolute blast. And we'll link and get together. And then everybody stay tuned. Like Frank said, like and subscribe. Please go to our YouTube page. We are in the middle of some transitioning, which is good for everybody that's here. We just have a lot more freedom on YouTube than we do on Facebook. So we will gradually be trying to make that conversion. So if you are one of our fans on our Chicago Podcast Sports page on Facebook, please do stay with us there for content. For video, please switch on over to YouTube, like and subscribe there. And yes, to my man Bullets. Yes, hope to see you in Chicago again this year. Hopefully we can get out to LA because I haven't been out to LA in quite some time.
Oh, God, I've never been.
I miss my California love, but at least I know I got somewhere to chill at. So Got to get out.
Party at Bullet's house.
Absolutely. But that's all. Oh, and shout out to Foul Mouth. And as always, shout out to T Nick. We miss you, brother. Hopefully, we take your time. We miss you. We do want you back on. That top left corner ain't the same without T Nick.
I know. I agree, man. I miss our funny. I didn't even get to hit him with this.
Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely. Oh, Bears versus Chargers, Bullets. Yeah. I forgot we do play.
Oh, yes. Damn. Bears versus Chargers.
We played the AFC West this year. Yeah. We might need.
Aren't they playing in Germany this year too? Or 2023? It hasn't been announced what day. I think it's a road game with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's got to prove that's 2023. I'm trying to plan a trip out there because my work is based in Germany. They'd be like, can I do like a warehouse visit on that week, and then you guys pay for my airfare, my hotels, everything, and I'm gonna hit up the Bears game.
Now wait a minute.
Yeah,
that's something that we can put in motion. Tell me now. I can use a little more stamps on my couple more stamps on my passport.
Right, man. I'm trying with that one. We'll see what we can do with that one because that'd be fun for sure. All right, but with that.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.